Hello and welcome to the next day of the Path2Pro League of Legends Combine. We are here with day number 5, and quite honestly, it's been quite riveting the times that I have been here so far. I'm excited to see what more the players can throw down. My name is Orbital, with me is Trashy, and we will be your casters for the upcoming 3-block series, the only one of the day. Trashy, how you doing today?
Not too bad. I wasn't planning on being on the cast today, but at least I get to see some players I've worked with before, so...
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. We got some awesome names, some that have been here for quite some time, obviously, and already shown their stuff across the 4 days that we've seen so far. It was to close out the week. We got Ariana, Munchie, Shochi, Sushi, as well as Rovix there on Team A. On Team B, it's Hoarder, Tahe, Adam, who formerly went by Adur, and then Mobility and Clarice. We already got the bans processed through. We got the Poppy and the Nico on Team A's side. They don't want to play against those with the Azir and the Wukong. For Team B, saying we don't want to deal with either of those.
Yeah, I think that the Azir ban is going to be really good here against Shochi. He's been looking really good on it recently, and overall, historically, it's been one of his strongest champions. I could see why Adur would not want to play against that today.
Looking at the jungle, though, a little bit of a nod over to Tahe, the Nidalee band away, but of course, the tried and true patented normality. If it's left open, you are going to grab it. The Orianna has been offered. We are still in full fearless, so keep that in mind. Champions played once cannot be played again, which is why we are seeing Adam currently hovering over that Galio, going for maybe a little bit more. I don't want to say safer option, but it is an option to play against the Orianna.
It is a pretty good response overall. I think it's pretty annoying to lane into, and it gives pretty good utility for the team. I don't know how I feel about pairing it with the Vi specifically, but not a bad champion in its own right.
hmm It's, you look at it, it's like a wombo combos type of beat. You go with the Vault Breaker, you go on in, and then you allow the Galio to have that grand entrance behind. So it's not the worst in the world, but I do agree it's a lot of all-in threat and potential on the table. We'll see what's answered out. It is going to be the Trundle Hover here, and Trundle has been seen so far as that mainstay jungle in terms of meta aggression. I know I was talking with Quacks and RMC about it. Can be very aggressive if given the right opportunity. Into a Vi and a Galio, though, it'll be interesting to see how well they pull it off.
Well, I mean, the big thing is that all of Vi's kit is designed for going in, and Trundle doesn't really build into going in. He's really good at the comps that come to him because he doesn't have a lot of ways to get to you, but once you're there, he can keep you there with his E, his W stop, gives him enough speed to keep up with you. I mean, he just rips away all of your defenses. So you go in as a Vi, and if you don't have great follow up to keep you going, Trundle's just going to destroy you.
Which is why we're seeing, a Yunara behind as well, because you have to assume TB understand that they can't fully dive into the Trundle, or at least they can't head-on dive. They're going to bring out the side dive type of beat with the Kaisa to go ahead and match up with the Yunara. These are very aggressive ADCs given the opportunity, and great scaling option on the Yunara as well, so I'll be very excited to watch. For the bot lane, Sushi and Mobility will be having a lot of fun. For Adam, though, I do want to point out, I believe this is their first time in the Combine so far, playing across in the last 5 days. So getting a chance to kind of show their stuff will be very, very fun. Bans come out here, though. Heavy targets up to that top side. The Scion plus the Jax, which have both been used very prominently throughout this Combine.
Yeah, I think it is good to see that on the red side here, we're doubling down on that dive. We're not shying away from it at all. We know we have a Vi, we have the Galio, so let's just give a follow-up slam Kaisa. I mean, if we're going in, we're going in. And they don't have a lot of actual real disengage on the other side. They have champions who kind of want to, kite a bit, but overall, they don't have the greatest disengage to keep this comp off of them.
Rom being denied away here. Again, the safety lines have been drawn. I wouldn't be surprised to see an Alistar nabbed away from Claritz, who historically so far has done, I think, quite well. Can be very, very aggressive given the right opportunity. So let's see exactly how that goes. At the same time, though, it's all for the teams. The Rakan denied away. I like it. Again, having that dive in and out can be very, very frustrating to deal with. So for Team A, recognizing that would be a secure support.
Yeah, and I think that Braum ban especially is key here. The fact that they're able to get rid of that Braum, it heavily weakens Yunara's ability to play this 2v2 because Braum just gives so much strength in the very early game, and he's very good in disengage comps. So getting him off the table is going to be really big for red side. I really wasn't expecting the Bard, but you don't see that very often in the lows where I'm from, so I'll be interested to see how it goes.
I mean, I think the Bard has also been utilized as a semi-dive threat. I mean, you have the Tempered Fate, which has been very frustrating to deal with, and especially if everyone's clumped up, it gives you perfect access to the opponents. I mean, you land a Tempered Fate, you land it on 3, and then all of a sudden you go in with the Galio taunt. Perfect setup. But a little bit more early game pressure here, as there's the Alistar that I was mentioning before. This is a great composition to run it with, get the headbutt, make sure someone is denied out of the battle, at least for a moment. The Renekton blind as well up to the top side. Ariana's going to be running that one, a very accomplished top laner that will be showing their skills here against Order, who has played multitudes of games and has also faced off, I believe, against Ariana a few times. So it will be that treat at the end of the day, depending on how you wish to line up this matchup. And it is going to be the Aatrox to finish things out. So a very common top lane scenario.
Yeah, I think that the top lane is going to be really fun to watch overall. As much as I love these two top laners, I don't think they've shown us what they're really made of so far this tournament. They've both been had relatively weak laning phases, kind of falling behind in their own lanes. So I want to see how they match up to each other and see which one of them steps up the best this series.
Okay, okay. I like that call out here. And it's appreciated because you mentioned that Ariana and Hoarder haven't really been able to show their stuff. I believe both of them have had moments, but they've been outshined. I mean, we saw Denethor
Mhm.
a while ago looking like a monster in some of their victories when they were playing, and it's needed a little bit of a boost. However, for Team B, someone that I think everyone has their eyes on right now, Mobility. Mobility has been the ADC this combine that has really stepped up and stolen a lot of the top stats, but also just macro and micro intensive. This is a player that I think everyone should have their eyes on if they're looking to field an ADC next year.
Yeah, I think mobility has looked absolutely disgusting so far this tournament. I mean, he's looked good previously, but he's really stepped it up a notch now. But on the opposite side, I think this is a good chance for Sushi, someone who hasn't really gotten his chance to really show his stuff in Tier 2. I think he might have subbed a couple games, but he hasn't been a starter in Tier 2 yet. I think it's a really good chance for him to get to face one of those upper tier ADCs and prove what he has, especially since he has a strong, the strong experience support and Rovex backing him up on this lane.
Oh, 100%. We'll see if they can hold off against Mobility and Claritz, who are going to be giving us their entire showing. Looking in the mid lane though, Shochi, of course, another player that we all know and love, but going up against Adam. Would it be really interesting? As I mentioned, Adam, I don't think has played throughout this entire combine just yet. Has I believe been a little bit busy on the far end. So seeing here in the combine, I'm curious. And considering who the junglers are, Munchie and Tahe, do you think Adam is going to be in a comfortable position heading into this game? Or do you think it might be a little bit of a testing ground?
I think it is going to be a testing ground. I think Tahe has looked a lot better in this tournament than I originally expected. He's one of those players I haven't really seen at all before the Sato Combine. And I'm someone very involved in Tier 2, so the fact I've never seen him is kind of surprising for how disgusting he has looked. So I think it will be a bit of an uncomfort just getting used to playing with this new player he's never really played tournament style with before.
All right, that's fair as well. Looking up finally at the top lane, I know that you said, hey, no big deal. This is Hoarder and Ariana. These are two names that we've seen around the block. But in a game-specific manner, do we expect them to have any chaotic moments? Do we think that this lane is going to be explosive? Or is it more about just getting Hoarder towards that mid to late, being allowed to follow up? And a lot of those, split sides or focused on the team fight aspect. Where do we see this Renekton and the Aatrox going?
So I've seen this lane be bloody many times. I've also seen it been kind of a nothing burger where both just kind of like punch each other a little and then scale into late game and team fight. But these aren't players who want to just do nothing and scale. Hoarder wants to fight. Ariana wants to punish you when you make mistakes. So I think it will be a relatively bloody top lane, especially since both these top laners have champions that excel in punishing these top lane champs. I mean, Avai is not as good as Trundle is, but Trundle loves ganking into an Aatrox. He just rips him apart at level 6.
100% fair. So let's go ahead and see what they can throw down here as we got the teams on line, and I'm excited to see what they can do on Team A. Once again, it is Ariana, Munchie, Shochi, and Sushi, and Rovex, no matter what the usernames are currently slated. And then on Team B, of course, we got Hoarder, Tahe, Adam, Mobility, and Clarice. If anything changes, though, we get new updated information, we'll be sure to let you know.
So I'm going to say just from draft, what team are you preferring? Because me personally, I'm preferring red side, but I want to hear your opinion.
Oh, you don't want my opinion. I'm a dirty mid laner by heart, and that's just a terrible question to ask someone that never really looks outside of my lane most of the time.
That's
Listen.
okay. I'm a silver player, okay? Even a dirty mid laner might have a better opinion than me.
Oh no. All right. Well, that's it. You know what? We'll agree on that one. So for me, I will say I'm always a little bit more biased over towards very hyperscaling champions. Namely,
Mhm.
I like when my lanes are able to win the game for me and I don't have to do anything. I play things like Vigar and Azir. Not Azir, I play Xerath. Ha, the other one. I really do like Team A's composition though, mainly because of the scatter ability. If you play it right, you're able to out navigate an
Yeah.
opponent. And when it comes to you and Nara, when it comes to an Orianna, yes, you want to be in the team fights. Yes, you want to free fire, but they have so much variety in how they can approach a lot of these battles. Of course, at the
Yeah.
start though, we're seeing the punish come out as Sushi is already down to half, burning that daylight oil and losing their pot very, very early.
Yeah, they are taking a pretty aggressive stance in that bot lane. A little more so than I expected, but it's not that unheard of. And like I thought in the top lane, they're getting pretty bloody up here already. They want to throw hands again.
I like it. You know what? Go ahead and try and show your stuff. One of the big things when it comes to a combine is, again, the fact that wins or losses don't really matter. Everyone understands that these matchups might not always be comfortable to people, and it's how you deal with a lot of that adversity. Because keep in mind, for those that might be tuning in, obviously you know about this already if you're watching day number 5, but when it comes to a lot of these matchups, the coaches, the scouts, and any potential new organizations that are coming up here, they're not just looking at wins. They're looking at how do you deal with certain situations? How do you deal with a losing matchup? How do you deal with being on a weaker side of the map? How do you deal with an uncomfortable loss in this early stage? These are all things that are actively being sought for by opponents, as we do see Hoarder actually getting chunked out very heavily as Ariana and Hoarder are ripping through each other, as you called, very bloody here in the top side.
Yeah, I mean, these are two players who, for better or for worse, they like to fight, right? And sometimes they get punished for it, but sometimes they'll just 1v5 a game with it. And today looks no different. They just want to fight each other. I see Trundle has path topside, though. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to go for the dive, but I don't know if he will.
Uh, yeah, no. No big deal. I mean, at this point, I think you are just hoping for a chance to fight someone else inside of that jungle. We've seen a lot of Trundle specifically. I think the pathway, especially for Munchie, is find out where Tahe is, get a good read, maybe get a 1v1, and utilize that power before level 6 hits. I wouldn't be surprised about that value, and then maybe look at the dragon down below. Either way, it is kind of that tempered aggression here in the early stages, just kind of fishing for kills. There's a lot of blood being drawn, as we said, but no heads rolling as of yet. And Adam, of course, make sure to stay within range, losing about, I think, a wave and a half down to Shochi before this recall.
Yeah, which isn't the best, but it's not too big of a deal overall. The important thing is he hasn't given him over any plates. He hasn't gotten himself, he hasn't died. And as Gallo, you don't really need to win lane. Most of your value comes from the fact that you have that global ultimate. You're going to have that frontline ability in these team fights, whether you're up 10 CS or down 10 CS. I think the top lane's very... they really want to kill each other, but neither of them wants to die.
I mean, they're also just waiting for that level 6 to come up here. I believe both are sitting about half. But Hoarder walking away, trying to get those cooldowns. Ariana does have to be a little bit worried. They're going to dive forward. A nice little spin is going to give a little extra damage. It's going to be enough. Ariana getting cut out here. Has to flash out to safety after getting the stun down. But Hoarder has a chance to slam on down that fist. If you get another, Ariana is playing with fire here. Diving back in, looking for that level 6. Hits it. Is able to get away scot-free. Wow, what an exchange.
Hoarder has to be careful, though, because Trundle is on the top side of his map. And Hoarder is still pre-6, meaning he is very diveable to a Trundle right now.
I don't know if you're really going to watch that dive occur, though, as a level 5 and timing way too late for Munchie to join on in. It is just going to be a nice walk back. However, keep in mind, Hoarder is a little bit behind in that current pace of play. This is their second recall of this laning phase. So let's see if it does change. Shochi walking up, getting a ward down, immediately cleared by Claritz. So it is going to be a dragon start here for Team B. It is only a cloud, but it's one dragon to start. And we've seen a lot of teams actively chase that soul point and using it as leverage against their opponent.
Now, I will note we have paid a lot of attention to to top lane and to mid lane, but Mobility's built a decent little lead for himself in the bot lane. No one's had to burn sums yet, but we have gotten a 10 CS lead for Mobility, and he has the wave coming into him, so it's going to get a little bigger.
Flashes up for Hoarder. I do agree, it has been a lead on the bot side, but it's all about the kills, and that's what we're hoping for. Very clean on this Force. Flash out by Hoarder and a Force of the World Ender as well. And I think he got a lot right there in the top side. In the mid lane, though, Shochi and Adam trying to get down a little bit. Nice buffering by Adam to ensure you don't lose more HP, and both are sitting at 50%.
Shochi did burn his ultimate in that fight, even though it didn't account to anything too crazy. But I think Trundle wants to use this prio he had to look in the jungle, but it's not smart. I mean, Galio has to rotate.
Oh, what a pillar! So clean on that one. Munchie knew that the headbutt was coming in. The Justice Punch isn't going to land. Oh, well done. Munchie staving off a disaster there in enemy territory.
Yeah, I think that it was a little... I understand why he went for it, right? Because top lane was forced to back, and he knows he can fight the Vi 1v1, and he watched Adam get chunked, but Adam still had a pretty decent amount of health left to be able to ult in. And Trundle, he's not quite strong enough to win that 2v1, even discounting the fact that Hoarder was already back in lane when that fight started.
Yeah, Hoarder was a little step there, saying, okay, I have the drill now, have a little extra damage, and these are kind of the breakpoints that you're watching for, especially when it comes to the grubs on the top side. We see the immediate trade of value. ADC's up to the top side, supports on the roam. We'll see if that changes anything else. Good taunt to go down. Clarice is here to fight, but everyone understands the current pace of the game, understands where they need to be. 4 heavy on the top side of the map. Namely, though, Hoarder TPing to the bot side means it will be only 4 for Team B if they do wish to contest on these grubs.
Yeah, and it looks like these teams are looking for a fight for these grubs. Neither side wants to give it for free. But interestingly enough, Ariana has a teleport coming up, and Hoarder does not.
Right now, the TP might not even matter. Clarice trying to run away. Has might available, but gets the portal out. Doesn't have to use the flash. And keep in mind, once again, as you mentioned, Ariana has a TP, and with the low HP, it ain't really going to work. Quick slow on mobility. Headbutt pulverize not going to land as the pulverize just goes wide. The recall comes out for Clarice, so it is gonna be all 3. Adam, though, with a nice double top body block coming in. No stun to come through. It comes out late, but the shockwave to finish gives first blood, and Shochi gets the kill with some help from Ariana.
That is just a strong series of events there for A side. They get the grubs due to the power of a level 6 Trundle coming in, then immediately after make the play to mid lane. Now, Hoarder does get 2 plates out of this, but he's going to get collapsed on. He's in a bit of trouble himself.
Hoarder, no flash. Ult is up, so World Ender can bring some value. But remember, Ariana doesn't have theirs. This dominance versus World Ender moment can be very, very dangerous. In comes the rest of the squad as Tahe is going to help out. Ariana has overstepped their boundaries. Nice headbutt backwards, but it ain't going to matter. Tahe helps out and evens the score at 1-1.
Yeah, without the ultimate up, they just don't quite have the power to take down Hoarder fast enough, especially with Vi on that side of the map. Trundle's top side, so there's no way he could ever respond to that play, and it just makes it very, very risky to do that extended fight.
One of those things that we gotta agree, Team B, they do have a very quick access to joining these battles. I like the call by Tahe as well, burning that flash, saying, okay, we just got to get in there quickly, ensure Hoarder doesn't go down, because that is going to be a nice mid to late game. I want to say, I don't know how else to put it. It is the right call. I mean, you do want the Aatrox to be a good split pusher, but it's not the main goal of the game, right? You have good instincts, you have good ways to get in, and it's about mobility, also getting strong and then setting up for mobility. But having that split pusher, having that ability to keep everyone away is going to be very, very helpful in ensuring that the lanes get off to a great start. Will be the appropriate help. Ariana once again being looked at in the enemy side, but with that proxy completed, they are going to get away scot-free.
Importantly, this lets Trundle know that there is no one to contest him towards the bot side, so he's going to be able to get some vision control. I don't think he'll be able to do a whole lot else right now. Oh, wait, no, Drake's spawn. He gets to rip Drake right on spawn.
It's been a while. It's been a while, man. We are all kind of confused here. Adam, though, getting chunked up. Poor Galio ain't going to survive, and even I am confused at point. As he called, the dragon is available. But a nice two-piece combo, kill him mid, dragon to boot. Team A starting to get some momentum.
Yeah, and that's going to be actually really bad for Team B. You do not want this comp of Team A to have the momentum, especially since a lot of this is going on to the Orianna. We have a little scrap on the top side, but I don't think it's going to be anything too major, as no one looks to be reinforcing this fight on either side. The very important things to watch for here is the fact that most of the gold on blue side from these kills is going on to Shochi, and they're going on to Vi on the other side. They are still getting scrappy in the top lane, though.
I don't think it's ever really going to end here. Ariana and Hoarder, you said it was going to be bloody, and it's the appropriate call to make. However, now Ariana recognizes that they're not in the right spot. Flash is available out of the Tempered Fate. Going to be safe. Well played. And for Ariana, it's almost the exact opposite for Hoarder, right? You're saying, okay, every other lane feels like they're doing okay. Shochi is 2-0-0. I can go ahead, play smart, play safe, and let my other laners kind of carry me to victory.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to create a huge lead here as Ariana, right? You have the ahead Orianna. You have your ADC, who's just going to scale into, I mean, not quite to the heights of Zeri, but she gets pretty close, right? And then you have a very strong scaling out of Trundle too, even if it's not quite, hyper scaling levels. Overall, blue side is going to be pretty comfortable with this game state. Drakes are even, you have the advantage of voids, and you're up in lanes in a comp where the other team kind of wants this advantage.
This is going to be a dance, though. Hoarder now getting drawn into battle. Shochi for a bit more, but priming this top side of the map. However, for Team B, they have almost consistently been in this area, and it is going to reap benefits one more time. Rovex flashing out to safety, but you can only run so far. A 100 shield ain't going to do much in the wake of that damage. Nice counter coming out from Team B as a TP comes in to save this bot lane. Ariana in the vicinity, not wanting to force, so instead clears the wave and is quite happy about that one.
Yeah, I mean, overall, they've done a pretty good job on red side of covering Hoarder. It's pretty obvious that blue side does want to look to give Ariana these advantages, but they just don't have free openings. And Ariana is just getting jumped on a little bit in the jungle as I speak.
This is... okay, so Team A are actively forcing a lot of these early movements and almost testing the limits of their micro mechanics. Whenever you're looking at invades, it is all about getting that right communication, making sure you know where each opponent is, and trying to make sure that you don't get caught out unawares. The fact that we are seeing this kind of dance inside of enemy jungle feels to me that Team A say they're not just in the lead, but they have control over jungle's side. They have current global pressure to invade, to look at getting to be that annoyance factor. It's kind of a bold statement to make at just 15 minutes when we're almost dead even.
Yeah, you don't expect to be feeling this rough in what feels like, I mean, what looks like an even game. But I'm feeling the pressure here personally. I think this is going to be a big opening here from Shochi, though.
They have gone ahead and tried to find Tahe as well in rebuttal. But it ain't gonna happen, and for Munchie, they're saying, okay, look, I don't want to force anything just yet. It is going to be a Scry's going down here as Tahe for a chance to get this Herald. Is it going to work? TP coming in here. This is going to be the danger. Headbutt pulverize on two, and they look for an option. Spike goes down, so the Herald goes red team's way. But is it truly going to be enough? The damage afterwards might be overall too overwhelming. It is going to be a portal to an unmagical spot as the Nightmare contains their lives. Team A rock the world and take 3 to boot. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, they get the objective, but it gives time for Team Blue to get into position and just absolutely rip them a new one. I'm not going to lie, I didn't quite expect that fight to go quite that way, but they receive a power of their comp. When they're able to get in position, where Yanara is able to open fire, Orion is able to go hard, then Trundle's able to just start swinging. I mean, when he starts bonking, people start dying. You know?
That's a little bit too true in there, but yes, at the current moment, Team B, the only thing that they had going for them is they were able to grab that Herald. Maybe they can look for a lane break because right now we're still waiting. We're at 16 minutes, still waiting for first tower to go down. Now, of course, bot side for Team B is looking worse for wear. And you can already see Shochi looking on that angle. I believe that tower is what, like a hit or two from going down? Yeah, it's a good 3 autos from
Maybe a
death.
couple. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead and finish it off. So this Herald might be utilized to try and bring Team B back within a reasonable pacing.
Yeah, I mean, things were feeling a little off tempo-wise for Team B at this, a couple minutes ago, but now it feels really bad. I mean, you do not want the Trundle of all champions to be accelerated, right? Because in a head Trundle will just rip apart your entire front line. And on top of that, Yanara's still down CS, but they didn't manage to punish this Yanara at all in lane. And they're just going to rip another dragon.
I mean, this feels great, and especially for an Ocean Soul, which we don't get to talk about too often. Ocean Soul is amazing for that kind of pace of play. Meanwhile, I didn't even get to talk about it, which I feel so bad. Hoarder has been doing work on the top side of the map, took the tower very, very comfortably. He's now looking for a kill on the far end, and saying, look, we're going to drop the Herald here, and we're going to get this battle. In goes a little bit of that Alistar, as Grovex is trying to body block here, but this is a large push. All 4 of the members outside of Adam, who can join in very neatly, are looking for that punch. They end up getting about 3/4 of that tower down. But I mean, that was a hefty move by Team B, being matched only by Shochi, who took bot side tower, yes, a little bit late. Was looking for a little bit more. Collapse coming in, though. Team B looking for a bit of access. Sushi, though, getting jumped on here as Mobility tried to go on in. Flash out and barrier by Sushi, though. So they are going to live, but it's Heather against a wall. Listen, the Unbreakable Will being utilized. Everyone's starting to dance on the nice edge. Sochi running for their life. Man, 7 kills so far. Everyone wants a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, red side found a good opening there to grab the top tower. Then blue side just kind of overplayed their hand a little, gets chunked out all across the map, and kind of just baits themselves into bad positions. It gives Team B the chance to get a little bit of gold in their pockets and get the game into a little more controllable of a state, even if this is still not a favorable game.
This one's going to be a difficult one to watch, of course. It's going to be a little bit longer than we expected, as we do see the tower starting to break here. Gold being funneled into Hoarder's pocket as well. That is going to be 2 towers total handed over to this top laner, handed over to this Aatrox. It's plenty abound right now. You can see matching pace with Ariana, but currently the highest in the game, 74. Well, I say that. Shochi is sitting at 8K, 7,400 though to play with.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty interesting state, especially when you look at it and you see how big the gold differential in mid specifically is. I mean,
Yep.
Adam had the counter pick with this Galio, and Shochi just doesn't care.
No, Shochi is dancing their way safely. What a pinch against the wall, making sure not to get stunned. Even turned it around, used that shockwave to drop some damage down onto Clarice. But we do take a look. Quick TP in, though. This is a very macro-centric play. Shochi got fought on and then immediately TP'd over to the mid to try and utilize the spacing. That's going to force Team B to go all in here. Are they going to make it work? Sushi in the Baron Pit, dancing their way in that transcendent state. Is it going to work? Clarice goes down. Ain't no way. Ariana TPing in the back line. Sushi does go down, but damage is on high. Out goes Tahe, but the poor Adam will be chomped away as well. Yet again, Team A showcase their amazing macro ability to collapse in on this battle, taking a 4-for-1.
And it all comes down to the fact that Shochi lived for so damn long. He just danced in that pit. They could not get to him. Rovex was doing an amazing job playing bodyguard for him, keeping them off of him long enough for the rest of the team to collapse. He does eventually go down, but by the time he does, he's already ripped everyone's health bars to shreds, and the fight's damn near over.
out of this world power, and we can see how Team A drafted very comfortable. I mentioned it before, their ability to skirt and dance in a guerrilla warfare tactic style is massive. They can draw out a time where Sushi, as you mentioned, is able to kite. You're looking at Munchie, who's able to stay alive thanks to that subjugation. Unkillable so far, by the way, 2, 0, and 5. The only ones that have really fallen are ones that are priority. Ariana fell much earlier in the game. These are all things that are huge bonuses for Team A that for Team B, if you're not liking the chances, you got to start grouping up, start getting that extra firepower because Adam is 0-4 and 2. Yes, you're going to be tanky. You don't like where the Galio is currently positioned, so rest of the team needs to start getting kills, maybe getting mobility further into this game.
Yeah, I mean, Galio is still going to be tanky, but he's taking a lot of damage even from Shochi, which is the exact type of champion Galio's designed to tank against. So he's definitely not in an amazing position right now.
Uh-oh.
They're looking for a play on Tahe, though, and he is not getting out of this one at all.
Just gone, and with the jungler down, you know that's time for Otacon. Even though it's got 15,000 HP, it's no biggie. And Team B are saying, okay, we can't get that objective. Instead, we're going to look for the guaranteed gold. I like this call. You aim towards those 2 towers, and you say, can't get the buff, but we can get the gold, and we can start making some plays there from ability, as well as Clarice, though. They're going to look to power down and get a little bit of that extra action. There we go, double towers in exchange for Otacon. Not the greatest trade in the world, but it's better than nothing.
I mean, it's a trade that's going to keep you in this game, that's for sure, right? If you take that 4v5, you do have the advantage of armor shred. You do know that Otacon deals damage. But at the same time, if you lose that fight 4v5, your game is almost just unplayable from that point. They are looking, though, they might take the chance to try and catch out Ariana here on the bot side. But Trundle is in the bot jungle, so they're going to have to make this play quickly.
Wow! It's not just 4, it's an excess of 5. Ariana full on dogpiled here because the dragon is available. That's a call and a half because now you lost out on a few ultis.
Yeah, and this is exactly the kind of play that Team B needs to make. They have to use their ability to move around the map to get these side lane plays before objectives because the straight 5v5 is unfavorable. They do have the 5v4 now, and it looks like they're going to take the fight. Clarice is
Shockwave onto
out.
1, though. Yeah, that's a huge chunk of Clarice, but it's not death. That's the main thing. Really, it is just about keeping Sushi alive. Good catch, though, on the back end. Robak's running for his life. Should get a little bit of extra speed up, and you are safe and sound. But a great exchange coming out. Team B utilize the TP as well as a catch. It was Ariana that went down. They're able to tie up the dragons. They lose the tower in spades, so it's still very close. Only about 3K between the 2 teams.
Importantly, they were able to force out Clarice's flashes, and while Bard... Oh, wait, hold on. We're going right in on Adam. Adam's in trouble here. He's got the Trundle ult on him, and he's just getting ripped to shreds.
Dang. It just never ends. We're starting to see these kind of back and forth picks go down, and it's almost like revenge in a way. You know, you take one of ours, we'll take one of yours. It's just who gets the better catch.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Adam is relatively tanky, but he is an AP tank, which means that in the face of a Trundle who's already stealing his tank stats, he's just going to get absolutely shredded, especially when that Trundle is far ahead like this. So it's just a really hard game for him to play out at this point.
I mean, the Galio R1, we've seen it utilized before, but the current game, I mean, Shochi is just so good right now in that lane control that it felt like you were really pressed for any time. It's either die and stall on tower or give tower and keep your life. It's a very tough choice to make. So it really is that position of, for Adam, how well can you play this late game that you are currently positioned in?
Yeah, against some mid laners, you can just get away with locking the Galio into their mage, right? And they're not going to do a ton into you. That's not Shochi. Shochi is very, very comfortable with this matchup. And he likely picked the Orianna expecting the Galio. I mean, if you're B1ing Orianna, you expect Galio to come in. But here you go. He's in trouble. But Shockwave's going to grab him.
It's going to work on the other side. The rest of the team and Team B are starting to collapse in. That's going to be the Assault and Battery. It is going to catch multiple. Tempered Fate, though, holds him in place. And Team B are aiming with Sushi still alive. Sushi is very much available. And guess what? You didn't touch the ADC. Everyone's got to sprint away. Flash forward as a flash out from Tahe ain't going to get you home. It is Sushi that is unleashed in this battle. And you called it earlier, Trashy. Sushi, who has quietly been power farming their way to brilliance, is going to try and stay alive, but the con with that tether, Clarice turns it around as that's an overextension from Team A and Team B. Get the kills right back, snipe from the far end, mobility on a killing spree just as well.
Porter looks for a little more, but he's not going to get it. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. That Bard ult came in, and I almost dropped everything. I thought for a fact Sushi was dead to rights, but I just see the Bard ult on top. I'm not going to lie. I see why he went it. He froze both the carries, but I thought one of them was dead for sure there before that Bard ult hit.
It truly was a little bit out of this world. Scary, scary stuff. And to me, the fact that we saw just a slight overextension, like, by the way, Team A had won that mid engage, in my opinion. They had gotten the kills, gotten away with it, and then they just barely overstepped. I think that's why this timeout is here. And to those that still aren't very privy to this, each team does have a timeout that they can have with their coach. The coach will call for the timeout. It's 2 minutes or 1 timeout overall, whether it's a minute or shorter. They're able to call for it. I believe this one, if I had to guess, came from Team A going, look, guys, we had a little bit of a mistake. It was a little bit of a scattered idea. We went a little bit too heavy. We have to respect the damage output that Team B can still play.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Team B may be down, but they are certainly not out. That is a 3-1-3 Kai'Sa on 3 items. She is still extremely potent in this game. And Vi is no slouch either on 2.5 items. Vi and Trundle are still even. Avenva Kai'Sa is still even. Your big damage dealers across the board on Team B are all still really strong. Aatrox is on 2.5 items. Adam's on 2.5 items. Kai'Sa's on 3 items. Their carries are on relatively even footing across the board. The only real disparity is going to be in that massive mid lane. The fact that Adam is down 1.5 items at this point.
Thankfully, you're not the mainstay focus of this game. You can go a little bit more tanky. You are able to go for a little extra pacing for yourself. I mean, I believe that's a bloodletter pacing. I think I'm wrong about the itemization there, but you are going to have a little bit of shred to come your way. Either way, though, for Adam, you are hoping the team is ready for your justice to have that heroic entrance coming in here, as we do see Baron started up. Now, this is going to be interesting. We are paused for a little bit as the game decides to catch on up, but I believe it's down to about half HP. We'll see if it plays out here. No, it's not even close. So Shochi was able to get to the back line. And keep in mind,
he has ultimate available.
Yeah, this shockwave could destroy your entire lane. A little bit of flash over the wall. There's a shockwave, and it's a killer and a half. I was waiting to see. Now, does the Baron go down as well? Yes, it does. Smite away. No save on the Baron, but enough to get the kills. And Force 2 gone. Shochi making sure Team B pay that price.
Shochi made the big play, but it just wasn't quite enough to stop them from closing out that Baron. But, I mean, you got the Baron. That is still going to be a very strong Orianna as she just keeps collecting all of his gold. The real question is, can you get the value out of this Baron leading up to this Drake fight in 1 minute to help make this game a bit harder for Team A to play out?
It was... I mean, it's going to slow things down, but of course, these picks every so often. And remember, they send Sushi, who has all the auto attack power in the world. Unless they don't force it any further. But I do feel if they wanted to, they could easily run down that battle. For Shochi, though, you're on thin ice, buddy. You are 5-1-8. You're going to run your way to safety, but there is that bot side battle. Here comes the portal, though. Clarice is here. Shockwave going to land and decimate Clarice's HP bar, but it is going to be Dai continuing that chase, and that's a little bit of a misnomer. They're going to allow Shochi to try and stay alive for a little bit longer. Remember, that bot side is being pushed. Shochi is going to try and turn around, try and get a kill. Yes, they do. Trade for one. Not the worst in the world. They got the bot side tower, so gold back in the pocket of Team A.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst of the worst, but it does hurt. You're committing multiple ultimates here to go on that 1-for-1 against Shochi in a 3v1 scenario. Well, I guess more of a 2v1. But overall, you committed 3 people to that side of the map in that play. It doesn't feel amazing to go 1-for-1 there, but these picks are what you need to get in this game. Shutdowns like that are important. and it looks like we're gonna have a good old 4v3 in the top side.
I mean, this fight, though, is looking like it's going to go Team A's way as they catch Hoarder completely unawares. Heels come out, though, but not for long, as again, Sushi is dancing on him like a cakewalk. Nice little knockup, but Sushi is still auto-attacking away. And it's just Shred City right now, as it's a 4-for-1 payment. Team A looks for the dragon.
Yeah, that fight felt a little too much of a, we got Shochi down, we can win. But they're just down multiple ultimates, and Claritza's off map. So, yeah, now you're starting the fight as a 3v4, and you're down ultimates. It's a bit risky, especially considering the overall game state. And I just think it was the wrong call to make there.
Might have been either way. That is the result of a call placed, and now the lanes are being held. Team A, go ahead, take the inhibitor tower, looking for the inhibitor behind Claritz. Gonna try and make it painful for them, but the dragon on the far end is the big calling card. That will put them on soul point. They now know where Team B will be at about 5 minutes from now. This game will be looking to a close at about 35 minutes, whether teams like it or not.
And I will say, I mean, it's been a pretty scrappy game overall. Team A has had an overall advantage for a decent chunk of the game, but don't let that fool you. This game's been within 1 to 2K up until the last fight or two. For most of this game, it's been within 1,000 gold, even though Team A has felt so far ahead overall. They are now, after that last big fight, 4,000 in the advantage.
Will it be 5? Will it be 6? Who knows? Will we go back to 1K, honestly, with how these fights have been going?
Yeah.
I like how Team B's actively chasing for some of these. Even if they're behind, they're saying we got to find a win somewhere. They understand their composition doesn't really yield results if it's not going to be a full fight, as Sushi has to dance away. Mobility dives into the enemy team, though. Thought it was only Sushi, and now the fight commences. Tahe getting into the mix on the backside. Sushi is going to go down. What a dive and a find. Shockwave lands on 2, but it's not enough damage. In goes the heroic entrance, as it's Ariana getting close out here. But they're focused on the front line, and it's giving time for Sochi to pump out the damage. Ariana's still alive. The Mad Lad, the Crocodile bites back. Peter Parker can't stop this croc. It is going to be Hoarder going down here, as that is once again a 4-for-1 as Team A look for the game end.
Man, they find the opening play, but they just don't have the damage to rip through this front line in time, and there's nothing to stop Shochi from just unloading endless damage onto this Team B comp, and they're just going in for Tahe. They are not letting a single person make it back to that Nexus unscathed, and that's just going to be the game here. I think it's been a really well-played game by Blue Team, but that doesn't mean that Red Team did not find many mistakes and punish them correctly to keep this game competitive all the way through.
It was a well-placed attempt. We give credit where credit is due, as you called. And, of course, when given some of the cards, you just had to kind of play it. You can see that, of course, Shochi had an amazing start here. 34,000 damage, 8-2-11. They knew the matchup well. Not only that, you look on the other end, Munchie was sitting there at 5-1-15. Very powerful as well. Every single player, it felt like on Team A, were able to mesh no matter what. I'm excited to see what they can do next. Looking at game number 2, though, Trashy, where do we want to see Team B go? Because they did kind of leave Adam to the wayside, and none of the other lanes really got off their feet.
I'm going to be honest. For my time watching Adam, Galio's just not the champion I expect him to look his best on, right? I want to see him on a champion with a little more control in the ability of deciding how the game runs, right? So I would like to see a more proactive champion come out of this mid lane going into this next game. I am happy. I believe it's just normal Fearless 3 blocks this week. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Okay. I think it's a really good thing for them that Trundle is off the table. I think that champion is just so warping in how the game plays. But I think overall the biggest thing is they need to work on their coordination, and Adam's definitely going to need to. He sacked quite a few waves to try and help the rest of his team, which helps put him even further behind. I think he needs to play a little more for himself going into this next game.
All right, well, we'll see if they can do so. Right now, we are going to go to a very short break. When we come back, hopefully, we got another game for you. It's games 2 through 3 for Block 1, which is the only block here on the day for the Saido League of Legends Combine Path to Pro. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
lives below. Breathes the flames from the dying suns. And lives to wake the dying ones. The dying
seen the walls come down, but here we all still stand.
We are the flame, we feel like the final round. They try to extinguish us. We are timeless in death. Hear the awakened world. Scream glory and scream courage. For here we stand in the path of victory. We made it through fires to redemption on the other side. We're standing and we're burning bright. Alright, 'cause we are timeless. Our future knows not your pain. Our past knows only victory. So we still remain.
Through our last free breath and back again. We've seen our scars burn red and seen them turn to flame.
We are the fire that guides our destiny. Yeah, the torch of finish us. We fight until the last. Hear the awakened world. Scream glory and scream courage. For here we stand in the path of victory. We made it through fires to redemption on the other side. We're standing and we're burning bright. Alright, 'cause we are timeless. Our future knows not your pain. Our past knows only victory. So we still remain. How many came to fight and die here? How many legions overcome? How many scars are left behind us? But there will be no rises. There's always light waiting on Hear the awakened world. Scream glory and scream courage. For here we stand forever from this day. We made it through fires to redemption on the other side. We're standing and we're burning bright. Alright, 'cause we are timeless. Our future knows not your pain. Our past knows only victory. So we still remain.
And we still remain.
Game number 2, we got a little bit of time to have some fun, and I'm excited to see what these two teams can bring to the table. Once again, it is Team A versus Team B, the ever so amazing teams that everyone knows and loves, and they are swapping sides. So Team B on Team Blue, Team A on Team Red, and of course, a new face beside mine. Of course, I'm so orbital, but we got Crewman joining us here today. Crewman, thank you so much for stepping in and joining us. We loved having Trashy, but Crewman, I know you were excited to join in on this combine, and I'm excited to see what you got, and if you're excited to see some of the champions as well.
Well, I most certainly am, Orbital. You know, it did seem like Trashy was doing a pretty solid job, I must say, but I do appreciate, as you say, I was really looking forward to being a part of this, so I appreciate him stepping aside for today, so I had a chance to jump in here and do a little casting of these two amazing teams. Already
Yeah,
into the
looking at
draft
things
here,
that-
Orbital.
Yeah, we're already deep into it. I mean, we were talking about we saw the Zed, we saw the Ziggs, saw all these champions kind of rolling out, which is surprising. Zed and Ziggs, in my opinion, are not exactly meta champions. Ziggs is, don't get me wrong, but the Zed jungle has obviously been on the rise, but to see it banned out as first rotation is a little bit wild. So I'm almost assuming that Team B are actively leaving a lot of these priority picks open. And on the flip side, we're seeing the Wukong and Jax. These are standard bans by Team A.
Yeah, definitely the case. You know, last game was obviously Team A that ended up taking it, but Team B, you know, was pretty competitive. Definitely had some moments. What I'm really curious about Orbital is I feel like Team B in that first game, they definitely indexed relatively heavily into dive, right, with the Vi and the Kaisa. So I'm curious if they're going to go for a similar strategy this time around, or if they're really going to be changing things up and kind of going to be having a different approach in this Game 2 draft.
I think throughout the combine, we've actually seen that. Exactly as you said, we've seen teams actually fluctuate between what their win cons are. One of the fun stats about this is every team has a coach, and every coach also has other people talking to them. All these coaches love to talk to each other. I mean, I believe right now Team B actively has Think Card, who obviously has been in the news recently, but has been very involved in this combine as well, and actively talking to these players, saying, hey, what do we want to play? How do we want to play it? A huge part about this is learning how to play under pressure, learning how to play different styles, how well do you mesh with your team. All of these different metrics are being utilized to evaluate these players, which to me is extremely exciting, as we do get to see the Azir come out here, which is going to be a treat for Adam to try and play.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Adam, one of the only players on the Rift today, I believe, that we hadn't seen very much of this week so far. So the Azir, obviously, an evergreen champion there in the mid lane. It'll be really fun to see how he's able to perform on the pick, and definitely a B1 worthy selection, right? It's very high prio for good reason.
Oh, and not only that, we get to see the Nidalee that was banned out in game number 1 as well. That was a treat to watch. We got to see a lot of bans kind of thrown out in specific manner. But this time around, we're seeing some of those exceptional options opening up. For Munchie specifically, this is a champion that I think they play to an exceptional degree. They have a history of playing a very aggressive style. And when we see Nidalee, it's all about poke. As soon as we see the Nidalee, you're not looking for a, I want to say, frontward facing, all encompassing team fight. Nidalee amplifies and exudes that I'm going to hunt you and you will die before you get a solid team fight off. At least that's what I'm hoping for, which is why I like to see Shochi on that way, a personal favorite champion of mine, but a great all-around poke champion.
Definitely the case. We are seeing blue team, or Team 1, I guess we should say. We're calling them Team 1, right? Or Team A.
The names will escape us at some point. I'm just saying it will get a little bit crazy.
Well, the team that is currently on the red side has drafted the way to augment that long-range damage from the Nidalee. But, you know, the other thing that Nidalee does obviously really enjoy is having setup and having champions that can help her actually land those long-range spears. Not really seeing that just yet with the way, so I'm curious if we're going to see a top lane champion. Cho'Gath being considered right now. That would be a lot of AP.
It would, but you really are focused on a lot of that tankiness factor. When you want to tank, when you want to frontline, and when you still want poke, the Rupture is still really, really good. But against a Scion, you are going feast for feast. In that way, it's a heavy scaling style. You are making sure that you get a lot of that HP in the bank to be able to help out. Now, in my opinion, Scion still outscales all day long. Cho'Gath is very limited by the number of Devours that you can actually have, or the number of feasts that you have, whereas Scion just scales off of minions specifically. It's not a bad pickup, though. I like it as a kind of bruiser, as a way to deter a lot of those opponents, and that silence can do a lot of work as well.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the Cho'Gath is something that I was just listening to the new episode of The Dive the other day. It's a pick that Azael was advocating for to be picked more into the Scion over the World Championship, where obviously the Scion has just been doing extraordinarily well. So pretty cool to see the Cho'Gath getting brought out here by Team A. So that'll be really interesting to see how it goes. It does have, you know, maybe you could set up for Nidalee Spears and Way Poke if you're able to land the Rupture, but, and, you know, you are offering a little bit more of that front line as well to sort of, if Cho'Gath can stand in front and create the space, give more time for Nidalee and Way to throw out those skill shots and try to get that damage down. But still, I would like to see a little bit more setup come out from this red side draft. We'll see what they decide to round things out with. As far as the second ban phase is concerned, it looks like both sides are going to be targeting some AD carries. Obviously, both sides still yet to lock in their bot lane. So the Lucian, the Jhin, and the Varus taken away so far.
And it's really forcing Mobility and Sushi to dig deep into their champion pools. Sushi obviously had an okay game, or I wouldn't just say okay. I mean, you came out with a victory fairly quickly, but it did feel a little bit interesting. I was always wondering, Mobility has been topping the charts here in the combine specifically, and I wonder if both teams are actively saying, "Hey, we want to put you guys on a little bit less comfort." These are 4 to 5 different champions that are now lost in there. You already lost the Yunara and the Kaisa, and now you lose the Lucian, the Jhin, the Ezreal, and the Varus. These are all very staple, heavy S tier champions. The Aphelios to fall down at the end is going to be a little bit surprising because the composition as a whole right now for Team A does lean away from team fight. And
Mhm.
unless that support comes out that is a heavy engage, Nautilus, Blitzcrank, or something like that, I honestly don't know how well the Aphelios is gonna go. Granted, you need a shred, so it makes sense that you want to have that Aphelios to shred through the Scion, to shred through the Xin Zhao. But as a team comp as a whole, I'm gonna be very interested to see how it works.
Yeah, for sure. And you're saying that not necessarily a team fight composition here on the side of Team A, but for the side of Team B, absolutely a team fight composition. I mean, they've
Yep.
got the Azir already, the Xin Zhao and the Scion already an amazing front line, the Lulu locked in now, and now what's available? Maybe like a Jinx, like one of the premier team fighting AD carries. There
Yep.
she is. There she is. That is like the most stock standard bread and butter team fight composition that you can imagine.
Yeah. You're 100% right. I looked at it, I was like, I wonder what is going to come out. Oh, yeah, the Jinx and Lulu. Like, what else are you going to throw at this composition? And now, if you even if you bring a tank to the fight, Team A are actually at a little bit of a loss. Remember, when we look at that Nidalee, the Nidalee needs so much ramp up. I mean, we've seen an Afiri played out as well before, which was to stellar effect, I think. I think Krishna was playing it. I might be a little bit lost on there. I have to go back and double check. Kiana. Okay. This is another champion that a lot of people are placing hopes on recently. It's been kind of picking up steam in terms of how strong it can be, but I don't. You look at how it's going to play out. This also means that this could be a Nidalee support to come out for Rovex. There's some changes in here that I'm not excited for. Let's put that out there. Team A are heavily investing in experimentation, and I like it for a combine. It shows that need to branch out, see what you can do, how well are you going to be able to play with these new champions. But as a composition, like, just flat out, like, I don't like it watching it right now.
Yeah, definitely some really fascinating choices here in this draft for Team A. And I personally, my money is on the Wei support. I was
Ooh,
definitely
yeah.
expecting him to go into the mid lane before, but I feel like Wei support I would probably prefer over the Nidalee support. And then obviously you're gonna have the Nidalee Kiana as your mid jungle. You get the damage spread there between physical and magic, so I feel like that would work out pretty decently as well. Well, I guess you would also have that if you had Kiana Wei mid jungle. But yeah,
It's all a mess.
definitely.
It's all a mess.
I'm sure they've got some sort of plan. We'll just have to wait and
Yeah.
see how they're going to decide to draw things up, where they're going to be sending all of these picks. Definitely going to be a fun one. The
Yeah, I'm
Kiana is such
excited.
an interesting R5. Yeah, I assume my current guess it's going to be Kiana into the mid lane. So I don't think Nidalee. I mean, we did see the Nidalee top. What if
Ooh.
it was like Nidalee top, Cho'Gath mid, Kiana jungle? Thoughts?
It could have worked. At the current moment, it's not looking like it. So I was correct. Rovex is running that Nidalee support. Munchie is walking along
Oh.
that jungle route with the Kiana, which falls in line. So within the last few patches, we've actually seen a lot of adjustments over to a lot of the assassin champions being pushed further and further into the jungle route. I think Zed jungle has been hilarious to watch overall. We've seen fast clears, but like the ganks are subpar. And the Kiana falls into the same pool, I think, as like a Morgana type beat. A lot of surprise damage from Fog of War. If you land it correctly, you can do a lot of damage. You can surprise your opponent very easily. So is it going to work? I have no idea. Munchie, I think, has a penchant for playing a little bit silly, but fully testing this out against a composition that Team B has built that will rely on team fight, on grouping, on ensuring that they get good laning. If you mess up once, Team A can fall very far behind.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, they have some scaling. We talked about the Cho'Gath a little bit earlier. You know, obviously Aphelios is going to get stronger the later on we go into the game. But I definitely agree. I mean, if they do fall behind, it's going to be really hard to retake control, I think, against this Team B composition that, again, is just so standard, so good at Hoarder on this Scion, just going to be able to, like, walk into these bushes, create the space, and they're just going to have such a comfortable time, it feels like, if they are able to get that lead. So then the question kind of becomes, you know, where is Team A going to look in order to try to get that early lead themselves and prevent Team
Ooh.
B from being able to have that control?
I would pray it comes from the bot lane, personally. When I look at this, even if I am looking at early game control and everything of the sort, I don't think mid lane's gonna have it. These are two champions that are relatively neutral in the skill shot game. At the end of the day, they can poke a little bit. The Hui has good range. The Severing Bolt can do some work. But Azir is a fairly safe champion. You have the Azir soldiers. You have that shuffle to get around if you wish. You don't really have great kill threat there. Top side, I mean, it's a Scion, it's a Cho'Gath. Both these champions, even if they die, as long as they get their stacks, they're fine. So for Team A, I am really looking at the bot side. You want to make sure that Rovex gets off to a good start. Same with Sushi. Both these champions, if accelerated, can really look at blowing the Jinx and Lulu up at an incredible pace. Not only that, if you put Sushi on a lead early, if you get that farm under them, they skill faster to shred out the Xin Zhao and shred out Hoarder on that Scion. Everything feels like it points to the bot lane, at least on composition wise.
That definitely makes sense to me, Orbital. It looks like Sushi and Rovex were on the Yunara Alistar lane last game. Do we recall how that bot lane laning phase went? I unfortunately only got I was only able to catch the second half of that first game, so I didn't quite see how the laning phase went. But any recollection as to how that laning phase went last time around?
Honestly, it went about as neutral as you could assume. It wasn't kill heavy,
Okay.
but we do have to give credit. I believe Sushi came out with an extended, or not Sushi, Mobility came out with a hefty CS lead by the end of it. So we did see the mobility piece really kick butt in there. So I appreciated that factor. It, however, it didn't end any further than that. So to me, it is about the fact that yes, the laning phase is good. Is it going to be enough? Is a whole different question heading into this game.
Yeah, the Nidalee support. Looks like Banana Pudding running the Summon Airy there on the Nidalee support. So you're going to get some extra value there. You know, not only if you're able to land the poke, you know, you get the little aggressive fairy, but also from the heals, from the E, you're going to get a little extra shielding there, I believe is how that rune works.
Yeah, it's any damage or shielding that comes out. Another part is the traps actually proc it as well. So these traps that are sitting around will actually travel with the summon area. It's hilarious to watch, by the way. When you see a summon area just like roam across the entirety of the map, it gets silly. It gets silly. So I appreciate it. We'll see if it actually works at the end of the day because you did start trap first. But it will provide some shielding as well whenever you throw down a heal once you have that E up and available. So yeah, it's a good keystone to grab. Is it going to be useful towards the late game? Probably not, but it's solid for the laning phase.
I saw a little bit of aggressive positioning there from Team A. Pre-minion spawn, as they were looking to maybe get some information in that blue side jungle, try and suss out where Gonbu, or I guess his name is Tahe, right? Are we calling him Tahe?
Yes, it is Tahe. So we have for Team B, it's Hoarder, Tahe, Adam Mobility, and Claritz. On Team A, it's Ariana, Munchie, Shochi, Sushi, and Rovex. You know, we try and let people know that we would like to see the full names on screen, and sometimes they just like to have fun with their usernames.
Okay, so Tahe versus Munchie in the jungle. Got it. Well, Tahe is going to be starting out on that top side, as is Munchie. Both going to be pathing down towards this bot lane, who are already trading, as we can see, quite aggressively.
Yeah, I kind of like it. So one of the big things is I think for the Nidalee, once you hit level 2, you're sitting there going, okay, Rovex, I'm fine. We can go ahead and get those heals up. Whereas for Claritz and Mobility, you don't have the innate healing. You got shielding and attack speed, but a lot of the healing actually comes from mobility specifically. So in terms of using those potions and using those extra pieces, it might work. However, at the current moment, mobility, use an extra ghost just to try and force Sushi out of lane.
Sushi and Banana Pudding currently pushed underneath their turret. Definitely losing out on that early push to the Jinx Lulu. But we'll see once the junglers do make their way down here. Interesting, we see an early reset coming out from Munchie just to pick up a longsword after those first 3 camps. And now we see Tahe moving into this bot side jungle. He's going to be able to spot out the Kiana. Oh, no, he just jumps onto the blue buff. So then Munchie potentially going to get the drop on Tahe. No. Gets a ward down in that bush. And the blue buff patience will reset.
Oh,
no laners really moving over yet.
I love this. I love this so early on, by the way. I love the idea coming out of Tahe. You set the Kiana further behind. It's the same thing that you would do to like anything like a Shaco or any other squishy jungler. You try and set them further behind. You just try and get in their face. I mean, Xin Zhao is great for that. Even though you didn't really get the kill or you didn't get the denial, Munchie still has to be aware that from now on, you will get invaded. If you're not ahead, it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, but the fact that invade didn't really work out for Tahe means that he is now behind significantly. Now here comes Munchie into the bot lane, flashing forward, looking for the play. It's going to be the flash away for the Creets. Burns both of those summoners on the Lulu to get away from the Kiana gank.
Good damage down in the mid lane as well. But yes, I agree, and that's what you want to see. But now on the bot side, it's a regank coming out. Of course, Tahe can't really find that one, but a jungler flash for more. Oh my god!
Mid lane, Adam flashes away from the way abilities. And that is going to be Shochi with the summoner advantage in mid lane. Top laners also extremely low. Ariana looking to turn it around with the Rumble Spike. The shield comes back for Porter. The flashback in. Oh, there's way too much happening right now. But it will be Munchie getting the kill. And now the W flash over the wall. Munchie dashes back into the Raptor pit. There's no way he gets out. Oh my word. The Kiana playing hide and seek now. Where is the safe recall spot for Munchie? Maybe he's just going to look for an execute. I don't think he has enough time. Tahe looking to chase him down.
Oh, no.
Oh, now here comes mobility. That's the worst possible outcome for Munchie, giving that gold over to the Jinx.
I am loving what the decision making here is, though. It is consistent battles, it's constant threats, and I love that both teams have actually drafted a fairly mid to late game composition, right? We talked about that ability for the Aphelios to scale, and yes, I know I said that with the Kiana needing a little bit more time in the early game to ramp up to try and get the kills. But everyone is taking like level 3 through level 5 battles and just constantly duking it out in lane. The fact that Shochi and Adam both opted for the duels and almost paid for it is just another piece on that pie. Well done by everyone to not only keep their lives, but to keep it at a natural state, 1 for 1. But as you called for mobility, you are so happy that you picked up a free kill on Munchie's life. Really nice for a Jinx.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should remember as well, given these compositions, we kind of feel like Team A, red team in this situation, they would very much like to be the team with the early lead, trying to snowball this one. So, you know, obviously a pretty even game still so far, but an even game feels like it does kind of work in the favor of Team B. We'll see about these early objectives. Looks like we got a Hex Dragon. I can't quite see. Is that a Hex Dragon? I believe it is.
Yeah, Hex Deck. Yep, Hex Deck to come out. It's not... I always like to see it as a soul. I think everyone does, but it will be fought over, I think, fairly well here at the early start. Getting some extra attack speed and ability haste is never a bad thing to worry about.
Absolutely. We do see a Munchie, the jungler on the bottom side of the map right now. Mobility, no flash, used it to pick up that kill onto the Kiana, so does have to be pretty respectful for now. But here comes Tahe into the top lane, gonna get on top of Ariana, who doesn't have flash either, and that means there's no way out for the Cho'Gath. Last hit gonna be given over to the Xin Zhao. That's gonna be Team B up 2-1.
And I know we talked about win cons for Team A, but for Team B, every lane is a kill threat lane, in my opinion. You have the engagement, you have the ability to slow people down, and it's going to be a freebie. Up on the top side, it's a yield that I think for Hoarder, you're actually going to really enjoy this Scion. Once again, we said we're good.
Oh,
but on the mid,
swept over towards Tahe. The way sidesteps the W, and that is going to keep him alive. Really nice movement there from Shochi.
Oh, response though? Is this going to be a full response?
Munchie gonna look for Adam now potentially. Already used the shifting sands to try to set up the play. There's a brief display of talent. Does get the stun actually. Spiraling Despair connecting onto the Xin Zhao as well, and Adam shuttles back in and then dash over the wall. It's gonna be Tahe getting the kill, and that's the feat of warfare for Team B.
What a solid dodge. Adam getting some safety on the back end and across the map. This is Tahe showing exceptional strength and proactivity. Top side, got a kill for Hoarder. Mid lane, re-ganked, helped out and ensured no one's gonna fall.
Oh, rocket. Oh, that was pretty close.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all right.
Yeah, actually landed onto Munchie's life, so that was kind of funny. But still, very, very well done from Team B right now. They're getting proactive, and as we mentioned, this is a comp that wants to steamroll the early game just to deny. They're mid to late already. They are going to outscale, in my opinion, over the likes of Just Away and the Aphelios. The damage output from Team A is still good, but the team fight coordination is going to be better. Ariana not in a good spot.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an awkward time for the Cho'Gath to be going for a ward, but is going to be able to walk away from that one. The Grubs are the target for Team B. They have swapped their bot lane around up towards this top side now in order to get priority over that objective. Of course, the first dragon did go over to Team A, so this is going to result in a trade of those early neutrals and a little bit of a sad time for the Cho'Gath.
Sad times for all top laners. I think this has become the meta standard where we do see the top laners. Oh my god, what in the world?
Hoarder looking for it to heal to keep Banana Pudding alive. And the Cho'Gath, oh, he actually lands that other decimating smash as well. But now, no flash on the Scion, and Kiana is here. Minion wave, not pushed up to the turret just yet. Hoarder gonna be forced to cancel the recall as the spear is coming in. And the Scion just used all of his tools to try to get that kill onto Banana Pudding, and I think that should result in a dead Hoarder underneath this tower. There's the Kiana ultimate coming out, and cleanly executed by Munchie.
I mean, really, really well played, and now it's fight back, but topside Ariana being prepped for a dive as well, but there's no wave.
Pretty much the exact same situation we just saw on the bottom side of the map, as Cho'Gath now going to be looking to go for the recall, but Tahe will stop him. And now as the minion wave comes in, Ariana going to try to walk away from this one, but Tahe immediately jumps forward. The Rupture is going to land. The Feast is not available, though. There's the Wild Growth and the Jinx ultimate just for good measure. And that is kill number 3 now for the Xin Zhao, who is very accelerated.
Not just that, you're feeding a lot of gold into Mobility and Clarice, who, again, are the namesake. These are the two that we want to see fed. That way, Clarice can keep Mobility alive as well. I really don't see any extra battle from Sushi and Rovex. So, it's well played. Still, Team B in position as even Hoarder. TP back to the bot side, gets a massive plate.
Oh, another sweep in the mid lane as well. Shochi in so much trouble, tries to flash away. His support is there, but not enough to keep him alive. Gonbu, Tahe, excuse me, 4 kills now on the Xin Zhao.
It's getting out of control. Crewman, we hot dropped you into a hot draft and a hot game is what I feel like right now. This is Team B recognizing that their composition, number 1, is solid. Very, very powerful, very condensed, and tried and true, right? This is a composition that everyone knows, loves, and hates all at the same time. I don't see it really going wrong, but they played it appropriately as well. Even this potential catch, I mean, Clarice, look how fast you are. You're not worried about anything. They are playing this appropriately. When you draft a comp like this, you want to make sure that you have the win.
Shuchi, Mobility both very low. As the wave comes in, Mobility trying to decide if he's going to be able to stick around for this or not. Tahe's also here, the rocket, sidestepped by Sushi. And the Jinx will be able to pick up the minion wave. Yeah, definitely Team B in a very comfortable position now. It feels like in this game they've gotten themselves up to about a 2K gold lead. And it does feel like the draft gambit for Team A doesn't really feel like it's playing out the way they anticipated. Scion ultimate in the mid lane. Sushi flashes away to stay alive. So good look there from Hoarder. Gets out that 80 carry flash. Now Adam in trouble towards the top side. Another very cleanly executed dive from Munchie, making the Kiana look pretty good.
It's another part of it, but Ariana running the wrong direction right now.
Oh dear. Yeah, it could be 300 more gold for Mobility here. See how it's going to play out. Ariana just looking for the minion wave. Is going to have a little snack of a cannon minion and then take a little bit of a break in the death chamber. And Mobility now up to 2 kills. That gold lead, it's stabilized as Munchie's able to find some plays as well.
Yeah, this is, as much as they're talking about the gold, it's there, but keep in mind Team A are still doing the right thing. Pushing the advantage, trying to push their aggression. With the composition they have, giving a lot of kills over to Munchie.
All right,
this fight though is
to go in,
different
pops
role.
the Crescent Guard. The Kiana though into the circle, but forced to flash away with the rotation coming up for mobility. Munchie not feeling comfortable to stick around in that fight. And the Xin Zhao obviously is very strong as well, has to be respected. But the Dragon Patience will reset. Looks like a recall for Tahe. Hoarder, meanwhile, on the top side, looking for the Death Smash, finds it onto Shochi, but the Severing Bolt not quite going to land. Probably would have been a kill if it had.
Is there going to be more, though? Again, the speed at which Team A are trying to close in on a lot of these fights, they recognize that they are on a timer, and they need to push the envelope, which is why we're seeing Munchie constantly look for battles, constantly look for these dives. They need the kills. They are the ones that are hungry for the gold, but they can't really get the gold. They're like lags behind by a mile, so I like the position that they're currently in around this dragon.
Yeah, I feel like we do have to give some extra credit to Munchie as well. The fact that he's been looking for all these plays, but also does have a massive CS lead in the jungle. So keeping up the farm while also looking for opportunistic angles to get these kills is pretty impressive. Shows that he's really using his time wisely.
Let's match in another direction as we get to see Tahe look at this dragon. No real good collapse factor, but you know, Robux might be able to get a little bit silly, but yeah, they're going to give the dragon, it's only a cloud, it's not that big of a deal. It's a 1-for-1 match. You are more focused on the soul to come, which is an infernal of all things. I love it. Right call.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be a big one to fight over. See the teleport back into the top lane for Hoarder, defends that top tier 1. Just only the one turret so far has gone down, the tier 1 for Team A over there in that top side.
Nice also pick up here. Happy about that pace. Now you have double feats, and you gotta buy upgraded boots in the future. Well, who knows? To me, I'm still waiting for that moment that we can get to see Team B really start to buff up and become a menace to society. There is gonna be a point where they just group, they don't care, and they just win the team fights outright.
Absolutely. And you know, the fact that they got the feats as well just kind of further amplifies that scaling advantage. And the clock is ticking for Team A. It feels like they're going to need to find a big fight and find it soon.
Will it work, though? I'm kind of sitting here wondering exactly where they decide to go, as the mid lane is kind of being pinched in on here.
Indeed. Minion wave coming in. Mobility does get hit by the Rupture, and a lot of damage coming in onto the Jinx. It's going to be okay to clear out the minion wave. Tahe standing guard. Taking a little bit of damage as well. But meanwhile, this is some free time for Adam on that bot tier 1. Look at that Azir just kind of wailing away. Gonna get that solo turret gold for himself. Rift Herald potentially going to be the trade. But Hoarder, full information for the team as the Scion moves in. Tahe shrunk down a little bit low, but still has the Crescent Guard available. Here comes the unstoppable onslaught. Not able to connect on any champions. Gets the flash out from Banana Pudding. Spiraling Despair flashed away from by mobility. Scion still in the bush. Gambu up on the side. Dashes in. Gets the Crescent Guard on everybody. Look at Tahe on the Xin Zhao, creating so much disruption on that backline. Adam with the rotation over, able to finish off the Cho'Gath. Munchie tries to go back in because he has no other choice, but it's just going to be another kill for Hoarder, and it's a decisive team fight win for Team B.
Crewman, remember what I said about this comp just steamrolling a team fight at some point. Not how I predicted it, but it did still fall within the same pattern. Very comfortable on their exit. Very, very well-timed TP as well to ensure Ariana was sectioned away, the main tank for the team. The entirety of Team A was scattered to oblivion, and the Crescent Guard plus the Rocket, I think, did so much damage. Team B played that so appropriately, and I can only assume they're going to continue to do so.
They really did, yeah. Some clean mechanics showcased there by multiple members on Team B. Really played that fight out extremely well, and heavily rewarded for it. That gold lead has now exploded. They're able to pick up the Rift Herald as well. Tahe's almost towards that second item. Looks like a black Cleaver second to the Xin Zhao, although notably, Munchie does already have his on the Kiana. Does have a 2-item spike. It feels like, you know, it's gonna be up to this Kiana. It's kind of how it feels to me if Team A are gonna find a way back into this game. Definitely getting more difficult though. Hoarder forced to runs into a wall there. A bit of a crash for the Scion, but he's gonna be able to get that towed away, no problem.
You know, that corner can be tricky. Sometimes you just run into it. It's hard to see. I get it. I 100% get it. Rough little spot, but as you said, no harm being done. Remember, at this pace, Team B are actively looking to almost close out the game. From their pacing, from how much they have currently gotten, they don't need Soul. Heck, they don't even need the next Dragon, I would say. You don't want to give it over, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
But they
look
can
at this.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, so much pressure being put on the map right now by TV. Here comes Munchie, though. Caught the Jinx out in the mid lane.
Oh,
The Wild
what a
Growth is
time.
there, trying to turn it around, but the supreme display of talent does finish off mobility. The price is definitely being paid, though, as that Herald even crashing into that bot inhibitor tower. Team A looking to get a consolation mid-tier 1. Looks like they will be able to secure this one, I believe. Tai, though, dashing in, lands the W onto Sushi. Crescent Guard coming out pretty early in this fight. Tilt Ward in for Hoarder. Looking to try and chase somebody down, but doesn't have the Silent Ultimate back available quite yet. In comes Adam on the rotation, though. The Decimating Smash does get the knock-up onto 2, but the Rupture is there, and Ariana going to be able to chomp down onto the Lulu. Cho'Gath not going to be able to get away from that one, though. Now the Silent Ultimate comes back up. Not quite able to find anybody, but Adam absolutely is. Sweeps back to Nidalee, and Sushi is going to get cut down as well. A 3-for-1 fight for Team B as Team A desperately, they just wanted the one tower orbital, but they weren't able to get it.
Nope. And these are both teams, in my opinion, making the right call, right? The overstay in that team fight, Team A, probably not. But the idea to go for mobility when you are behind, you're grasping at any sort of kill that you can get. Hoarder, at the same position.
It is a Scion. Is he killable? He's looking pretty killable. I think they've got him. And it is going to be Shochi who claims the last hit on that one. First of the game for the Wei. And Hoarder, you know, really he was just a distraction up there while his team was taking the Dragon on the other side of the map. And with all those members committed towards the top side, mobility just scoots on into the mid lane, picks up that mid-tier 2. Ariana potentially in a dangerous position. But Team B are going to be happy with what they just picked up. And they're probably going to be looking for some resets here pretty soon.
Yeah, I like what's going down. Again, as I was saying before, Team A playing with what they can. They recognize that they aren't going to win team fights. They got to look for the picks. That's what they look for, and then they try and get something off of it. Respecting the damage output, though, out of Adam has been the tough part because Adam didn't look that threatening. Shochi, though, is very easy to kill.
Very, very threatened at the moment is Sochi. And Adam, the one doing the threatening, does pick up the last hit, number 4 now for the Azir. Munchie in the enemy jungle trying to find some kind of play, but Sushi isolated in the mid lane. Does pop the Ghost, gets away from the Scion, but Banana Pudding, no access to the Ghost, and is not going to be able to get away. Tahu is godlike. Tahe is godlike, I should say. It's now the sweep back for Adam. Finds the Kiana. And that is going to be yet another kill over to Team B. And that's going to be a very comfy transition into the Otacon. Sushi, it looks like, finally going to... Oh, he still can't even get that tower. That is depressing. He's trying to...
He can't even auto it. There's no minions. It feels so bad.
Oh.
Okay, so we got bot side, though. But again, I gave Team A their dues. Team B also get their dues. The reason being they're 16-6. They played this early game so appropriately. Of course, Tahe is looking like a monster right now at 7-0-4. Has had so much impact from the early topside dives. But again, they are willing to try and close out this game at an appropriate pace. That is something that I always talk about when it comes to compositions and comes to players playing together. You need to know how to close out games when you have a lead. Yes, those towers have fallen, but that's freestanding gold. At this point, we're just waiting for Team B to gather up, wait for them to get their gold, and then be able to walk away. I say that, but my god, mobility getting chunked out again and again and again. But to me, that's not the main point. Adam is 5-2-4 and is hungry for yet another kill.
Looking again, doesn't have the shuffle right now. So not as threatening of an angle for the Azirs. It otherwise could be Moonlight Vigil going to go wide there. Team A still trying to look for something. A lot of damage onto Clarice. Does get taken down by the Aphelios, but Hoarder on the flank angle. Gonna be able to catch out Sushi. The Aphelios already gone down. Banana Pudding going to be next. And it is a 2-for-2, about as good as Team A could hope for. But once again, Team B and Hoarder specifically just closing the door on them.
That was by far the dirtiest engage and re-engage that I think we've seen throughout the entirety of this game, right? Team B, they walked in, they kind of, what I lovingly refer to as money bagging it, right? Like they had the
Okay.
money. They were like, we can take one or
Yeah.
two, and they couldn't. They still came out with a 2 for 2, but that's because they had the gold. That's because Adam had the damage to kind of lean it back in. Honestly, Team A, they fought well. They saw the damage that they could output. They were routing a couple members and, paid or forced Tae to pay the price. So, not the worst in the world, but it's still a very uphill battle. They need to start narrowing the scope and stop allowing these to be for 2 for 2s. Maybe look for a 1 cost. Drop your support in favor of getting a 1 on the other side only, instead of also losing your ADC.
For Team A, that's the game plan you're thinking?
Yes, it is. That's how they
Yeah.
start getting more gold back and start ramping Sushi into this mix. Because Shochi is a damage threat. So is Munchie. But they're not the true damage threats at this point. You need Sushi to be alive, and you need Sushi to be able to consistently output damage like he did back in game number 1.
Yeah, absolutely the case. They do need that Aphelios to come online is the main way that they're going to be able to cut through this Scion, right? I mean, you called it out all the way back in draft and champion select. And the Aphelios, he does have 2 items now, but still pretty far from the 3rd. That is really when the Aphelios is going to be coming online. Something else that you mentioned earlier on in this game, Orbital, and I feel like Team A are kind of following your advice on this one, is they're obviously very far behind right now in this game, and they're trying to get creative with the angles that they are looking for. They're trying to find, these maybe lower percentage plays, but that's what you have to look for when you are in a deficit like this. Team B so easily able to take all of this space, pushing Team A out of their own jungle, and now Ariana in trouble, has to flash over the Flame Chompers. Will be able to get away for now, but I feel like this second Infernal Dragon is all but gone.
I think it is going to go the way of Team B if they wish. Now, granted, they could use it as bait to try and push Team A into a precarious position, which is why we're seeing a mid lane kind of siphoning. This is dangerous. Take a look at the spread right now. They know the ADC is on bot side. They're going to look for Hoarder a little bit more. Great buffer with the Unstoppable Onslaught, but will that be enough?
Yeah, Ariana trying to zone Adam away, but the Azir moving in, looking for that shuffle angle. A little bit of damage coming out. Tai dashing in. Didn't realize there were so many people in the bush, and the Jinzhou is a big pick to find for Team A. Adam trying to cut down this Cho'Gath, but now a lot is being committed on some low prio toxins.
I like this.
Sushi moving forward, has red and white on the Aphelios. Looking to cut down one more. The Azir goes golden just to buy a moment, but that will not get him out to safety. And now it is just the 3v5 for Team B as they try to go for the tactical retreat. Porter trying to stand and fight with the decimating smash. Sushi still with those red and white guns. And the Scion gonna get pulled in by the grasping Maw. Can't find the opponent with that decimating smash, but mobility with the range. The Moonlight Vigil does come out for a little bit of damage, but the Aphelios now is so low. This fight's still kind of tricky for Team A to play out. In goes Munchie, looking for the angle. Gets the Q, immediately has to flash away. The Scion is just so large. The decimating smash, not quite enough to get the kill, and eventually they will take him down. Banana Pudding is gonna have to be sacrificed to the zombie. And
my God!
Dear, it's another kill for Zombie Scion. And now a 2v3. The Super Mega Death Rocket not going to find the kill, but Tai has come back from the fountain, and he's going to be able to take down the Kiana. The teleport back in for Adam as well. Shochi, nothing doing for the way. Oh man, that looked like it might have been the moment for Team A to retake some control, but in the end, not to be.
A minute and a half long fiesta is what that was, which honestly Team A needed. Whenever I talk about some of these games, I always like to mention, if you're behind, cause chaos, disrupt the opponent, catch them out, and get kills. Technically, that is what they did, but Team B were willing to sacrifice. Yes, it might not have been optimal. Tae dove in, didn't really have the team, but recognized that mobility was on the bot side pushing. They got the inhibitor and then started to back away. Adam was like, hey, let me limit test a little bit. And then the fight just continued. They baited for so long that Team A had no choice but to continue to fight and try and pick up extra kills. They just needed gold is all they wanted at the end of the day. So overextension, yes, they still fought, which is what I like. They still have a lot of heart to play with.
Now they've got bigger fish to fry as the Baron has been started by Team B. Hoarder just standing in the enemy jungle trying to zone everybody away. Clarice may be in trouble here off on the side. Takes a lot of damage from the Aphelios, but Baron already down to 50%, and Kiana's gonna have a real tough time getting into this pit without the flash. Baron continuing to focus down. Hoarder just zoning everybody away, refusing to take any damage. Adam, a nice retreat there, throws out the shuffle to this.
He stopped Baron!
Baron actually has been peeled off of by Team B. They're looking for the team fight now. Sushi slowed up by the zap. In goes the Scion. Oh, but the Aphelios actually blows up the Jin Jab. The Decimating Smash is going to get the return kill.
What in the world? No.
He's going to be going down as well. And now Hoarder actually on a sliver of a health bar. The rupture over the wall, not going to land. Actually a pretty close fight there. Ends up being Team A 2 for 1.
I cannot believe this. Because Team B went for 2 prey as an eagle, they lost both. They lost the Baron, didn't get the kill train. Team A played that so well. I mentioned before that the composition is not a true team fight composition. Instead, it's a guerrilla warfare tactic. You're looking for picks.
Yeah.
You're looking to draw the opponent into your enemy's side and keep them away. Now, granted, yes, 2 eyes were on the Baron. Poor Tahe was focused on the Baron. Same with Clarice, which is why they were so low. But it gave an opportunity. Is it a small one? Yes, but it is an opportunity nonetheless for Team A to get some gold back without giving Baron over and having another chance at this global objective battle.
Yeah, definitely really well played by Team A there, and I feel like you summed it up perfectly, where it is like the guerrilla tactics, right? And that was really how they had to play that out, as like individual members like taking turns, kind of diving in, taking the aggro, and then retreating and creating space for their teammates. But now here we go again, back onto the Baron for Team B. Banana putting off on the side. Shoji trying to get some damage down over the wall in this way as well. Let's be a little bit careful as Hoarder looking to push him back. Baron down to 50% once again. Munchie's still pretty far away from this pit. They're looking to burn it down, and I think they do have it. Now, how does the team fight look? The Scion going to use the unstoppable onslaught to try to get away. Crashes into the wall once again there. Moonlight Vigil does come out. Doesn't get that much damage. Supreme Display of Talent only finds the 1 stun. It looks like Tahe is going to be sacrificed, but I think Team B will take that for Baron onto 4.
All day long. All day long. You saw the Supreme Display of Talent. You knew that you were all going to fall. So you go ahead and back away. Nice sidestep of that spear. Uh-oh. Well, Adam almost did. But it's the right call. You knew that if you didn't go for the Baron there and you didn't fully commit, you were going to lose it out. Team A were going to get that, and all of a sudden they had time to, again, sustain against your push. This is the Baron that they're going to utilize to try and break the base ever further. They're most likely going to try and end it. And if not, they'll at least secure Soul. Dragon up in a minute and a half. They had to go for that, or else Team A was going to cause way too much confusion. A sacrifice of only Tahe is an okay sacrifice at that time.
Yeah, definitely. Team B in a fantastic position now with the Baron, and as you already highlighted, going to be able to transition that presumably into an Infernal Soul. And that feels like it's going to be an insurmountable lead for Team A to try to overcome. See Adam here in the mid lane, taking space with the Sun Disc. Going to be able to push up that wave even further, make it so difficult for Team A to rotate into the river to try to contest. Still about a minute out on this Baron, though, and look at where the rest of these Team B members are pushing down the top lane, and nobody from Team A there to answer right now. Looks like that top inhibitor tower, at least, is going to get taken. Shochi moving in now, on the way. Now Team A in a position to try to defend, but mobility with the range sidesteps the rupture as well. And that inhibitor is just gone, and it could even be a 3 inhibitor game here for Team B, as that bot lane inhibitor also exposed already from earlier on. Trying to rotate over towards it now. But Team A, you know, obviously wanting to at least keep that 1 inhibitor alive. You definitely can't be dealing with those doubled up supers in every lane. But just a retreat back towards the river for Team B. Team A still on the chase. Gonna be their last stand in this game as the Dragon has started up.
Is it gonna work though? They're split again. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, Shochi gonna be forced to flash in the blue buff. It gets away from the Silence, but the Dragon's already gone. Munchie wasn't able to get into the pits. And now look at this, Scion just assassinating the back line. Mobility helping out there with the Super Mega Death Rocket as well. Sushi able to trade 1 back with the Moonlight Vigil. And now they're forced to fight. Munchie dives in to find the Kayanos, but on to 2. And Adam in a lot of trouble here. Goes golden for a moment. Clarice. Oh, the shuffle is amazing for Adam. so well played by the Azir and the Lulu Hoarder. Still
over.
unkillable here off on the side. And look at Mobility already in the base. Mobility and Adam going to be able to take down the Nexus in a very convincing win here in the second game for Team B.
I mean, if we only took the last 10 minutes, I don't know about convincing, but it was a win at the end of the day. It was chaos at the end. I appreciate it. The team fight still came about. Team B were thrown for a very gentle loop at that time, but by the end of it, they took it home. Mobility was solid. Adam was solid. Everyone on Team B had their moment to shine. Yes, was Team A's composition a little bit rough? Yes, but Team A played about as well as they could have, given some of the circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Credit to Team A towards the end of that game for making those team fights competitive, after they were already at such a big deficit. And, we
Yes.
talked a lot about how that team composition for Team B, it was like the team fight comp, right? It just felt like the later we went into the game, the easier it was going to be for Team B to continue playing that out. But absolutely, Team A were able to find some decent angles and actually did make Team B really work for it at the end there. But ultimately, that Scion took so long to die, and the carries for Team B, Adam and Mobility, I think both had very nice performances. Tahe, so much control in the early game, was able to find so many angles. Even thinking back to that early invade that Tahe went for on towards the Kiana, that invade specifically didn't really work out, but I think that's just a way to highlight how proactive Tahe was being in that early game to really set the team up for success.
It was a lot of fun to watch, and I can only assume it's going to get better. So I'm excited to see what Game 3 is going to have here as we are rounding out day number 5, I believe, of this combine, or day number 6, whichever one you want to take a look at, as week 2 is very shortly upon us as well. So let's go ahead, go to a short break, allow these teams time to discuss and think, and when we come back, it's the final game of the day for the Saito GG Combine. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
強く強く輝いて消えた流れ星ほら命が燃える何かに怯え走り続けたその虚しさのしなに何を見て何を探してきた自分の声がただ響く幾千万の星の中で惹かれて出会った守り手たちよ回る回る時の輪の中で自分の弱さ強さの先に同じ空誰かが見上げてるそう信じて消されない虹の奇跡が届けと冷たい指で涙拭ったあの日にはもう帰れない水平線目指して飛び立つ自分の願いを抱いて幾千
Welcome back, everyone. We are set for game number 3, and you know what that means. Time to put it all on the line, or at least in a little bit of silliness. We saw a Kiana jungle last time, and Italy support, which didn't really pan out. And this time, we're going to see if that changes at all. Team A back on the blue side, Team B back on the red side, and immediately the ADCs are banned.
Yeah, we'll see if either side wants to get really creative with the draft this time around. You know, blue side so far 2-0 tonight, so we'll have to see if that continues.
And already we're seeing the focus. So the Wukong again, Wukong has obviously been such a high priority for a lot of these teams. It's been one of the premier, I want to say litmus tests. I like using that word a lot of the time. It's very fun for me, but the litmus test of certain junglers and certain champions and certain roles is very nice to watch for. At the current moment, though, we are watching the Zed still be banned away, so it's a high priority ban against, I believe, Shochi and Munchie, both specifically might be able to utilize that champion. But the Poppy and the Nico, both really good engage and disengage champions. I like what's being put down.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting, both the Poppy and the Nico getting banned. You know, a couple of really strong anti-dive champions. Makes me wonder if perhaps that is the direction that Team A are going to be wanting to go in here. Perhaps their first pick will be pretty telling in that regard. Ziggs getting banned away. That last ban on red side by Team B, and an Aurora first pick is a little bit surprising, a little bit unusual to see that champion so high priority.
I think it's okay considering the mid lane pool that has already been kind of tempered here so far. You have the Orianna out, you have the Azir gone. And this is a matchup that we've seen before as well. The Aurora versus the Ryze matchup is both a comfortable mid to late action. The Aurora loves to chunk out, but the Ryze can scale almost indefinitely if you get up to the higher levels with that mana scaling. So not a bad setup so far. And for Shochi as well as Adam, this has still been a little bit of test back and forth. Adam had an amazing showing on that Azir previously. Very, very well done on the scaling up and finding those shuffles. So now you're put back into a purely even lane state. The Ryze and the Aurora, in my opinion, can be played extremely comfortably on either end. The Ashe, though, okay. Taking the agency away from the bottom side, instead aiming towards some of the other lanes.
Yeah, definitely more of a utility pick going to be coming through there for the Team B ADC. Now the Pantheon going to get locked away for Team A. Pantheon's such an interesting champion. You know, obviously for most of this season, he was like the #1 jungler, king of the jungle for so long there. And then Riot hit him real hard with the Nerf bat, really aimed straight for the kneecaps. And then they were like, oh, you know, we hit him a little bit too hard. Let's bump those numbers back up a little bit. So now he's back into a kind of a decent spot. You know, that monster damage modifier is in a reasonably okay position. But definitely not quite as high prio as he used to be, you know, in the for most of this season. And Bessa coming through as well. So does feel pretty divey. I gotta say, this Team A draft so far, Jack's gonna come through on the R3.
And I like it. Again, as you said, a little bit divey still, keeping that same kind of play style available. Main thing to me, though, is we're giving a lot of shifting advances here. Once again, as we mentioned, this is a combine, so being able to have the players really flex out, see how well they do with different compositions and different champions, specifically in the top side, Ariana and Hoarder. And these two champions, the Mbessa and the Jax, they're going to go head to head. They're going to duel so heavily, and I'm going to be super excited to see who comes out on top with those fights. The Nefiria, the Ezreal, and the Corki, staple bans considering you're trying to ban out jungle and ADC respectively to teams A's and B. So I like it.
Yeah, definitely. The Jarvan gonna get removed there as well. Now, thinking about jungler still available. Ooh, the Lee Sin could be a fun option. Talk about a pick where players can really show their stuff, right? Talk about a pick
Yep.
where, you know, you do have that room for skill expression. Could be a great opportunity for, I believe it's Tahe is the
Yes.
Team B jungler, right?
Yep. We're getting the Lee Sin. Let's have a blast. The OG playmaker, which signals again early game strength. You're following up. You have to make map movements, which Tahe did on the Zins out. Keep that in mind. Tahe was so proactive in the early to mid game, consistently ganking, willing to throw their life away for the team. A little bit of safety here on Team A's side, going with that Jhin, a little bit more long range, playing that support utility once again, backing up the rest of the team.
Yeah, Jhin, one of those AD carries that can really pair nicely with dive compositions, right? The fact that you're able to follow up from so far away means that, you know, you're always going to be able to assist when your team is diving forward towards those priority targets. And speaking of dive, the Rakan does feel like it meshes with the rest of what Team A have quite nicely. And now we are down to the support counter pick on the R5 for Team B. What is Claritz going to decide to go for?
Nautilus is available if you're looking to go forward a little bit more. I like it. Braum, I think, is currently still available if you want to go a little bit more safety, considering you see the engage in there. But the Rel is also a huge prio. Nice mix in between. The Magnastorm will be able to stop a lot of that engage utility, but it does bring you relatively short range, considering how far the Aurora can reach, how far the Jhin can reach. This is going to be a treat at the end of the day. Every single lane getting some action.
Yeah, it feels like we've got some pretty contentious lane matchups across the board here. You know, starting in the top lane, the Ambessa versus the Jax. Jax obviously being picked into the Ambessa here. Feels like that's probably a skill matchup. Do you have any more detailed thoughts on that one?
I just think, you know, considering they played a little bit more safe last time, they had a Renekton Aatrox matchup before that leaned into, I believe it was Hoarder at the very end, but it still came out with a win for the side of Ariana in the squad. This time around, I really don't know. We've seen the Jaxes so far in this combine have ups and downs depending on the matchup specifically. And against an Mbessa who does have auto attack specific abilities, I could see Ariana getting away with this. Ariana has always been known as a very, I think, a strong mechanical player overall. Hoarder has done the exact same, but I do agree it is going to be a skill matchup at the end of the day. Will the junglers actually get into play? I think so. I think it's actually going to be more revolving around Tahe and Munchie. If they do push up to that top side, that will be the tipping point for a lot of these battles.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think we are going to have a spotlight, excuse me, on both of these junglers, both of them on some really strong early skirmishing champions. I will say for as far as the Ambessa Jax is concerned, the Ambessa does have more dashes, right? It's a little bit of a release date advantage in that regard, but should be a really fun lane to watch as well. And then the Aurora Rise, I think something worth discussing here also. You know, the Rise, I feel like has been a little bit higher priority just in general. But the Aurora picked up very early here for Team A. You know, obviously we're not really sure, you know, given the nature of this event, given the nature of the Combine, we can't really say for sure if the early Aurora priority was specifically because they feel like the champion is really strong, or because they just wanted to experiment with it and build a composition around it in this particular game, right? So it's hard to really read too much into that specific draft decision. But regardless, it should be a really fun matchup to watch. It does feel like, and you kind of touched on this already as well, Orbital, it does feel like the Rise is going to have perhaps a little bit of a scaling advantage, at least in regards to the side lane threat. The fact that he has that global ultimate to be able to push the side lane and then rotate to join up with the rest of the team is definitely something we're going to have to watch out for.
Yeah, I think also the catch potential when you get that rune prison down can be very frustrating to deal with some of the movement tech that these champions on Team A currently have. Having that rune prison, being able to set up for Tahe and the rest of the squad. Plus, if you get a dragon kick backwards, you can immediately lock up an opponent as well. It's not just the movement, it's the ability to consistently layer that damage source all the way over. So I'm excited what they can throw down. Of course, all my dissection can be there. Will it be enough is a whole different story. So we are headed into game number 3, the final one of the night here.
Final one of the week, I do believe, right? I think there's a day off tomorrow, and then back into it on Wednesday. Is that
I believe
right?
there are games tomorrow. I believe
there
there
are
are
games
games tomorrow.
My mistake.
Yes, we have
Where's
one
the-
series tomorrow at 1 p.m. PT. So
Okay,
unless that
perfect.
gets canceled, and then that'll be a whole different story. But we do currently have one.
Non-stop action here in the Path2Pro Combine. Some consistent amateur entertainment for all you based amateur enjoyers out there. But as far as this game is concerned, it looks like we already have a little bit of a deep ward. Going to get put down by Team A. They're going to get vision over that red side Raptor pit. Looks like Tahe is going to be looking to start out on that camp. So got some early information for Munchie and the rest of the squad.
I like this. Again, no early invades, no chaotic nature. Instead, it's the prime specific of just play smart, play safe, scale up, and have a lot of fun with it. Namely, in the mid lane, though, I am going to be watching Shochi and Adam specifically. Have had some of the most, I think, interesting interactions. Game number 1, Shochi was given such a huge alleviating point, had the Orianna versus the Galio, was doing really, really well on that point. Game number 2, it was Adam that had an extensive lead with that Azir, was really farming out well, and now on even ground, it's, you know, which way does it actually go? Who is going to have that advantage? Who is going to take that victory?
Both mid laners picked so early on in the draft here as well. A lot of priority on both of these picks, so it will be very interesting to see. As Taritz, a little bit of flip back onto Banana Pudding down here in the bottom lane. But really, as far as this early game is concerned, I think, again, we do have to really focus on the pathing of these junglers, right? Both the Pantheon and the Lee Sin can be so formidable in these early skirmishes. See where they want to prioritize. They're going to be pathing towards opposite sides. The Grand Entrance going to find the knock-up onto Mobility down here. Early advantage for Sushi and Banana in the 2v2.
You can see how they like to dance in and out of that damage range. Specifically for Sushi, it's not elongated engagements or damage sources. It's all about that quick poke. Get that fourth shot or get that knock up and get the deadly fourth. All about poking them out as much as possible and then not allowing them to attack back. It's the basic principle of a Jhin versus any other ADC. We're going to see if it continues onwards. Topside, though, we're seeing a dance.
Yeah, Hoarder going to be able to find the stun with the counter strike. Gets away from the Ambessa. Wave in a little bit of an awkward spot right now for the Jax. So Ariana's kind of holding it pretty nicely here, as we can see. Not hard pushing the wave back in towards Hoarder just yet. It looks like it's going to be a little bit of a slow push building up for the Ambessa. See if Munchie's going to be able to get up there before the wave fully goes into the tower. It seems like the timing might actually work in Hoarder's favor. You see the Jax just kind of hanging back, waiting for that wave to come in, giving us the thumbs up. Very nice.
Yeah, and this is also the point where everyone needs to recognize that, hey, the lanes are going to be a little bit interesting because the junglers are now unleashed. Everyone has that timer of, hey, it's about 3.5 minutes. Everyone should know that the junglers have been clearing, and now they can look to aggress into the laning states. And that might happen here, as this might be a dive.
Yeah, they're going to look to set up the dive. Comet Spear stop the recall, but now that's going to be the long cooldown on the Pantheon Q, and Ariana is extremely low on this Ambessa. I think calling it off is the right play here for Team A. But now Shochi potentially in trouble. Gets between the worlds, or no, that's the is between worlds the ult or the W? I always get them confused. As Tahe still looking, but the Pantheon here to defend the Aurora, and Shochi gonna be able to get back into the lane, no problem. Ariana extremely low. The leap strike forward. We're not quite able to finish off that kill. So many low health bars just everywhere right now. As Tahe going in, Munchie with the, oh, these flash forward for Shochi, so close at him on like 50 HP. Will survive as the mid laners trading flashes in the extended play.
Yeah, it's been out of this world chaos. of Nature's again. And you were right, it's Between Worlds is the ultimate though, so it's Realm Warp for the W. Either way, everyone is
Wait, wait.
between their minds right now as they are actively going at it over and over. Everyone getting taken quite low. This is again a repeat of almost game number 2 with how the HP bars were at the beginning.
Realm Warp, the Rise ultimate there, of course, Orbital. I think the Aurora W is something like across the veil.
Across the veil,
or
yep.
between the
Listen,
veil,
I'm
something
already
like that.
lost. I'm supposed to be a play-by-play. I have no idea what these words are.
That's quite all right. It's very confusing. You know, both the Aurora and the Rise doing stuff with different dimensions. It's a lot. It's a lot to sort of take in, but we'll do our best. And now the junglers off of their resets now, both gonna be coming back out onto the bottom side of the map. Sushi on Vision alongside Banana Pudding. We'll have to go back to the bot lane soon to catch that wave. The first dragon of the game. I think it's a mountain this time around.
Let's see if it pans out again. These early games have been so close in how they wish to fight. No one's really given that space for the junglers to even get in, which both junglers are generally pretty hefty in terms of how they want to fight in the early game. They are very early proactive playmaking. The fact that they really haven't found a window is surprising.
Well, we've definitely had some close calls. You know, there was that dive being
True,
consumed by
true.
Munchie in the top lane, and then that 2v2 in mid was very, very close to getting a kill in either direction. But still 0-0 on the board for now as Tahe looks to start up this first objective. We can see Munchie moving over, and the Mountain Dragon does take so long to actually finish off. You really have to have a lot of control to fully commit to that one. And Grub's coming up in about 90 seconds. I'm guessing we might have another situation this game, Orbital, where we're going to be trading off those early neutrals. We'll have to wait and see. All right, Orbital, I guess, has had to step away for a moment. He should be back soon.
I am back. I am back. I am good.
Oh,
Almost
welcome
tripped
back,
over
Orbital.
my entire setup. I had to go take care of something. But we are good. We are good. As we're still waiting for first blood. I didn't miss too much. I'm glad. I'm glad.
Not at all. Yeah, you're just in time, actually, for perhaps a fight to be breaking out here. Banana Pudding in a little bit of a tough spot. Going to get stunned up by the Rel. Able to battle dance back towards his AD carry, but still going to have to flash, and now the Realm Warp coming out. The flash forward coming out from Team B. Looking to finish off the Sword. One more arrow from the Ashe. Gets it done, and it's 2 kills for Team B just like that. But now the flash forward is the Pantheon. Gets the kill onto the Rel, and Tahe solo as well. Finished off by Shochi. 2 for 2 overall, but now the Enchantress Solero connecting onto the Aurora, gets across the veil with the volley, the max range W for mobility. The AD carry that has made such an impression here in week number 1, already 2-0 here in this game.
I have been waiting for this the entire time. Welcome once again to the Mobility Show, single-handedly turning a lot of these games around, and a big reason why a lot of people have their eyes on him. Mobility has shown exceptional prowess in macro play, consistent either hyper aggro and hyper carry playstyles, or playing a bit more utility. On the Ashe here has been holding their own. Is even looking for more of a play as we now get a pause here once again. And I'm curious, that early engagement might have surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, I mean, not to toot his horn too much. We don't want to overdo it with the glazing, but I'm pretty sure that the Ashe, like, just barely ticked over to 6 there, like, during that fight, and immediately went for the ultimate onto Shochi to get that 3rd kill. So just really heads up. Good accuracy, obviously, as well. You know, didn't have vision, or I guess, yeah, he did have vision because the Aurora W came out after the arrow had already landed. But regardless, definitely pretty well played by Mobility and everybody on the side of Team B to come out ahead in that skirmish. And we haven't really discussed scaling too much between these two drafts, Orbital. And definitely some strong elements on both sides, but I feel like I'd kind of lean in a Team B direction as we move towards the late game. What do you think?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I don't think either team has specifically good scaling. Obviously the Rise does well, so does the Aurora. But the ADCs themselves generally don't, and the junglers are both primed more for the early mid. I would sit there and say I would give it a little bit more to Team A. As much as I like Rises, Auroras tend to have a lot more burst ability in there, and the Rises need a little bit more consistent firepower. They need a bit more time to just kind of free fire with the spell reels and all. Plus, I give credit to Mbesses. Mbesses are tricky to deal with, and Jaxes are a bit more straightforward. Obviously, you jump forward, and when it comes to the late game, you're going to bonk some heads pretty dang easily. But for an Mbessa is so overloaded with hit value that I think it's just going to be out of this world difficult come that late game.
Well, we'll have to see how it does pan out. We're able to see Munchie secures his own red buff, while Tahe onto the Void Grubs. Dragon's still up and available, but the topside neutral is going to be the focus of the Lee Sin early on. But now Team A moving in. They're going to get the knowledge that the Lee Sin is looking for these. Still holding on to the Smite, though. Tahe would love to be able to secure the second grub. Oh, I didn't quite see who was able to get it, but now the Lee Sin in a lot of trouble. The Curtain Call does help to take him down. And that is going to be, it looks like 2 grubs were secured by Tahe before he went down. So it does get the neutral at least. But now Clarice going to be going down here in the mid lane as well. That's a nice early kill for Ariana.
It's a nice little pickup in one way. Like, that is a huge one. Actually, I would give. The fact that we are seeing kills go right back over to Team A, considering they lost out on the grub battle, it's not all 3. So it's not the worst push in the world. But watching that go down now means that Team B, they have that chance to kind of put Jax on that side lane. Hoarder is going to become a giant pain in the backside if they start winning out against Ariana in these 1v1s. So I like what they're playing for. But again, as I mentioned, Tahe is more than willing to put their life on the line for the team, which I highly respect.
Oh, absolutely. You got to respect it. It was a really interesting choice, though, by Tahe, and it seems like we might have a moment here to discuss it a little bit further. It was kind of a choice between staying in the pit to secure that second grub, or I imagine he could have W'd out. I'm not sure if he had a ward or not. I assume he had a ward where he could have gotten out of the pit and, you know, most likely ended up sacrificing the second grub. But obviously decided to stick around for it. You know, how do you sort of reflect on that decision from Tahe?
I like it. Granted, a lot of people are going to say, why would you do that? Why would you die for a grub of all things? Tahe hasn't really had a moment to really shine just yet. It's still waiting for that opportune moment of, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to get that Lee Sin kick and all that stuff. And the longer the game goes on without a Lee Sin getting massive kills, the worse it's going to get overall without any type of scaling there. So I want to see that aggression. I want to see that fight. I want to see more damage.
And engage right now is Banana Pudding able to dash away for now. Goes for the quickness very nicely, denies the kick. Tahe still looking for it, but Choshi creates a little bit of space with the E. Going back in now as the Starfall comes out from the Pantheon. They finish off the Lee Sin. Shochi is going to get taken down as well by Mobility, but Munchie's still on the chase, looking for one more spear, but Mobility and Clarice able to retreat. And there's just going to be the 1-for-1 there in the mid lane.
I mean, that one felt extremely forced at the end of the day, but here comes that fight on the bot side.
Yeah, Hoarder already popping the ultimate, but Ariana, there are all those dashes coming into play, and he needed every single one of them. Barely able to get back underneath the tower.
Oh, that was an old exchange.
Call. Top side, Adam gonna go for the Realm Warp.
Wow!
Does get away.
Oh my god!
Oh, he Realm Warp! I didn't even realize what he was looking for. I just assumed it was a Realm Warp in retreat. What an insane play from Adam.
I love it, and now they're pissed. Team A is pissed.
Oh my goodness, now Hoarder, the 3v1 onto the Jax. He does have the counter-strike. Pretty good at trying to defend against the dive as the turret starts to rain down. He flashes back to support. The crackdown is there, and the turret will finish off Munchie, and now the dash back in for Ty. Looking for Banana Pudding, the teleport in for Adam. Fresh off his outplay in the top side, and he's back to help pick up another one. Ariana trying once again to dash away, but the resonating strike is going to be there for the Lee Sin, and it's going to be Team B coming away with a 3-for-0.
What a ridiculous yet perfectly encapsulating play from Team B. Adam, the one that has gotten a chance here in the final day, or the 5th day of this Combine abilities refiring, showing up on the Rise tech there, forcing Sushi, who saw the realm where wasn't sure if Rise had joined in, gets face planted in the wall, immediately recalls, plays with the bottom side of the team. The communication factor from Team B has scaled up infinitely since game number 1, and they are now poised to take over this game as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been a beautiful team coordination coming out here, no doubt about it. They're able to secure that first dragon as well. Now Tahe, I was gonna say he's in trouble, but just kidding. Able to dash over the wall there with the ward jump. It's going to be all right for now.
is a response.
And now,
Uh-oh.
yeah, a little bit of a fight about to break out potentially. Clarit's leading the charge. Not able to get anybody with Crash on, but does find Munchie with a shattering strike. They're looking to lock up Banana.
Oh, the
putting
follow!
in, follows him past the battle dance. And that's going to be the end of Shochi as well. Team B
Oh, they died
looking
this
for
all
one
day long.
more, and
Yep.
there it is. Another double kill for Mobility. And just like that, they have blown this game wide open.
And it's off the back of Adam and Tahe. These two willing to put their lives on the line for the fights, recognizing that they have the damage, and the one to soak it up afterwards, Mobility. Mobility is eating this up like a golden star buffet. 5-0 and 2, 10 CS over that Jin. Poor Sushi is sitting there like, dude, what did I do to deserve this right now? So well played by the entirety of this squad. Team B really turning things up here in Game 3.
It is all 5 plates off the bot tier 1, as if this Ashe needed more gold. He is now even richer. And it's Lethality Jin as well. He's going to be so sad that he's behind in this early. Look at that, 2,000 gold advantage in the 80 carry position for this Ashe, who is not Lethality. You can see Mobility running the lethal tempo there. He is going to be shredding.
Not just that, it's also the ability to reach across the lines and say, hey, I'm going to fight you ever further. Ariana.
Well, some reinforcements on the way, though, as the Grand Starfall does come out. But Munchie gets locked up. The CC is there. And Hoarder staying alive for now with the counter-strike. And it looks like Team B, they will not lose a man as they retreat together back underneath the tower. And no neutral objective available quite yet. Still looking for the fight is Team A. Clarit's, though, finding the flip back corner. Ariana does go for the public execution for
Arrow coming in.
invulnerability. And now the dive underneath the turret is a bridge too far as the health bars get shredded. Everybody going out so low. It is a double kill for the Ambessa and Team A. They do manage to come out on top, just barely 3 for 2.
By the way, that would have gone way worse if Sushi didn't eat that arrow. The arrow was coming in, landed on Sushi, which is why the dive was still partly pulled off. If that landed on anyone that was under tower diving pressure, that would have been over. Either way, though, the gold swing isn't that large in Team A's favor because, as you called, they just barely came out in the lead. Mobility and Adam were still pushing on the other sides of the map, meaning extra gold in their pocket. Mid tower went down, and Mobility still gets to free farm. Team A played a desperate gamut. They came out somewhat okay. They almost split the pot, but the resounding hands that are going to come out here are not favoring them.
Yeah, that's a great point, Orbital. The fact that, you know, obviously Team A brought more members to that play. It was the carries for Team B that were farming alone. Another map, and now Shochi in trouble. But once again, reinforcements on the way. Goes for the between worlds to try to get with Mobility. Just fills them all full of arrows. Now Tahe, or Munchie rather, on top of this. The Deadly Force does connect from long range, but nobody can finish off Mobility. At least they do get both summoners out of the Ashe, but that is 6 kills now on the Team B ADC. Around for the minion wave, should be able to pick this one up as Team A move towards the Rift Herald. Not feeling confident enough, though, to actually start it off.
I mean, that's fine, though. For Team B, you're fine. They're looking at Adam, though.
Check the bush, locked up by the Grand Entrance, and here comes the Pantheon as well. Should be able to lock down this Rise. He tries to flash away.
Oh, what a catch!
Jungler here. The quickness coming out as well. Should be enough to finish off the Rise. And now Tahe in a really difficult spot as well. The force shot coming out from the Jin. It's a double kill for Sushi as Clarit's crashes down over the wall, but the stun is there from the Pantheon. They're going to be able to run down one more. And just when I thought they were completely out of this game, Team A come roaring back to life.
Because they're willing to put a little bit more emphasis. They're saying, okay, we're falling behind. We're not really catching Mobility. We got to find somebody else. And they turn immediately onto Adam. That was Adam's first death, by the way, not the first in the world. It just landed at a very precarious moment. You saw the rest of the team trying to come on in. As we said, Tahe trying to save the team, sitting at 4, 5, and 6. Kind of a fun little scoreline right there. It's not bad. Again, yes, gold leans into the pocket of Team A. They are getting some back, but it's not the end of the world. Main thing is if we see another team fight around that dragon, specifically in my opinion, where we are going to see Team A use those kills to catapult to a global objective lead and then take extra towers on the back end. That's where we should start being worried.
Absolutely right. Yeah, definitely. It's 2 turrets to 0 right now in favor of Team B, as they are going to be looking for their second dragon now as well. We see the Pantheon nowhere even close to this bot side river. This is just going to be given over. And let's see what kind of soul we have for ourselves this time around. Is that a Chemtech soul? It is indeed. So a little bit of a low roll there for Team B on their Dragon Soul, but still they're going to be happy to lock away that early double dragon. Not the quickest though.
It's just, you know, it's a slow roll start. I will say when it comes to Chemtech, I actually like it in more skirmish heavy situations. A lot of resistance is built up. Oh my lord!
Connect onto Ariana. And there are so many members of Team B. Oh, I respect the attempt to flash away. Almost was enough. But in the end, they will finish off the Ambessa. Now the quickness coming out for Banana. They're trying to get on top of the Ash. The Rakan finds Ash with the quickness. They are able to finish off Mobility. Tahe going to be going down as well. And a nice punish does come out from Team A.
I like it. Both teams have the ability to decimate a singular target. Now, will it work in the future? I do not know. That redemption first item, by the way, by Clarice has gotten so much value already. Saving mobility once, almost saving mobility a second time down here. We're starting to see those exchanges come through as we've recognized that this game, there isn't a true team fight aspect because it's just burst heavy. Everyone just wants to battle out. Everyone just wants to kill the other team. So you're not really focused on any specific target except whoever has the lowest HP bar. And that should terrify everyone. Whoever gets the right jump in a full, if it becomes a 5v5, it's going to be whoever gets the first hit is going to almost win the battle.
Yeah, some really explosive engage definitely on both sides. And speaking of explosive engage, I feel like we got to give a lot of credit to Banana Pudding and that last fight we just saw in the bot lane. The side of Team B, they tried so hard to stop that Rakan from getting on top of their AD carry, but Banana Pudding would not be denied. And as soon as he got in there with the quickness, then Mobility had no chance. So really good target selection from the Rakan specifically and the rest of Team A. I didn't quite see who got the shutdown on Mobility, but that definitely was a big kill for them to secure.
Yeah, these are the little bits and pieces that are starting to come back and play. So you can see where the gold is currently lying. Mobility, obviously, 10k, really, really healthy right there. But that's not what I'm looking at. Mobility is going to die one way or another if everything is leaned in from Team A. What I'm looking at is a resounding gold elsewhere. We're looking at Hoarder, who's sitting a little bit further behind at about 7.6. We're looking at Adam, who's currently sitting at 8.7. These are the extra carries that are going to have to pick up the slack once Mobility dies. And I'm not saying that because Mobility is bad. I'm just saying everyone's looking for Mobility, right? Like Mobility is 712. Everyone wants him dead from Team A.
Definitely the case. Yeah, Mobility is the most wanted for Team A. And they have great tools to try to get on top of him. So much dive with the Ambessa, the Pantheon, the Rakan. It'll be really difficult for the Ashe champion without any dashes in the kit to really withstand that. So it's a great point, Orbital. We are going to have to be sure to keep our eyes on Adam and Hoarder as well to try to, make up some of that threat as all of that focus is going to be coming out on the Ashe. The Ryze and the Jax presumably are going to have some time to look for a lot of return damage in these fights. They definitely are going to be really explosive. Got my job cut out for me, that's for sure.
It's either that or you're looking for just side lane action. There's two schools of thought, right? If you group up on Team B, then Mobility will most likely go down, and you pray that Hoarder and Adam can take over. Or it's just like a rotation. One of those three fall, and then you work from there. The other side is you only play a 4-1, always have a split pusher on the other side, and that's how you get your main damage. Instead of worrying about someone dying, you just say, hey, I'm going to take a play instead. However, right now, it's a full group up. Altakon is being started, and Shochi's on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, the Aurora in a little bit of trouble, tries to go between the worlds, almost gets away, and in fact does, with the E coming out there as well, and now Mobility, very safe so far. The Pantheon going very deep with the Grand Starfall. Is anybody going to be able to follow up on this engage from Munchie? He has the Aegis Salt to buy a little bit of extra time. The Lee Sin goes back in! Tahe takes what the Pantheon, flashes away, stays alive. Now Hoarder with the counter-strike, gets the stun on the Ambessa and the Rune Prison there as well. They lock down the enemy top laner. Now Mobility still able to hit as Team B looks to kite forward. Another Q for the Lee Sin, and Team B retake control.
Disgusting display right there. Team B call the start of the battle. Shochi went down after, though we saw another lot. That was so well played. Claritz was the one that ensured the battle maintained its status of, you're not going to touch my backline. And from there, it was over. Adam able to round warp in, got an amazing follow-up. And Tahe dancing under 10% HP in and out of the battle. You could see a majority share of Team A had no idea where to look after getting their first kill. Well played by Team B. Mechanical prowess on point.
For Shochi once again here. Claritz in a great position with the Mega Blast Cone. Across the Veil goes the Aurora, but the Crashdown is there and no ultimate available for Shochi. Trying to get towards this wall to maybe flash over, but Hoarder there to follow up with the extra CC. That is going to be kill number 2 for the Jax. Soul Point now secured as well for Team B to complement their 5,500 gold lead. They are now in a great spot to try to close out this last game of the day.
I mean, this is a fight for fight's sake at this point, and only 4 minutes away. You can use that time to go ahead and pinch your way to that soul, farm up a couple more waves, and then break through that mid tower, which, by the way, for Team A is sitting on a hair's breadth, I believe. It's it feels a little bit down. Team B, as we said, doing very well for themselves. Yeah, that's freestanding gold at this point. And for Team A, I'm looking at them, I'm saying, where can we really go from here? I have no idea. I'm looking at the team comp. You're praying not to get hit by an arrow, get hit by anything. It's not looking in your favor, and the HP bars of Team B are just overwhelming at this point.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Team A, what they do still have at their disposal is they do have great dive, great ways to pick off isolated people in side lanes, right? But what we're seeing from Team B, it feels like they're recognizing that, and they just walked together as 4 into that top lane to try to pressure that top tier 2. They're trying not to give any angles for Team A to look for those comeback side lane plays.
I would also say Ariana has had some struggles here on the Ambessa. Normally, you want that perfect execution to land. And we see a lot of people actually use it as a startup, a wind-up to the battle.
Come out in the top lane, but Adam with the phase rush. So fast, Banana Pudding flashing forward, finds the CC, and this is exactly what I was just talking about. But now the reinforcements on the way. The Zhonya has to buy some time. The crash down the Magnet Storm is there. Can they finish off the Rise? They finally do get him. What will it cost? Banana Pudding goes down, and Mobility is here now. Try to run down some more members. Flips back is the Pantheon. The stun is there. And the Shattering Strike with the curtain call opened up by Sushi. Pantheon going out so low, the Aurora damage finishes off the Lee Sin. The Pantheon will be traded as both junglers go down. Mobility, aggressive positioning, the Mega Blast Cone to get Order into position. He finds the ultimate onto 2, Sushi, in so much trouble with the execution. Comes out from the Ambessa, looking for the ass, gets straight on top of Mobility, and Ariana, the hero for Team A, takes down the Team B AD carry, but now the Ambessa, the only survivor in a 1v2. Claritz is low as well. Looks like we'll disengage for now as the Ariana teleporting back to the top tier 2 to defend.
I like how it begins and ends with the top laners in a 1v1. They were on the bot side, by the way. Hoarder now getting jumped on.
Oh dear, yeah, the Jax potentially overstaying here a little bit, but does have the ward jump to get back over the wall, and we'll be completely fine.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. When we see Mobility does so well at adjusting to these team fights, but if there's any sort of eye on Mobility, he will get killed. That was the right call. You aim at Mobility, you take him out, perfect kills. It's the follow-up, right? And yes, Adam was down for that, but Hoarder came in and saved that battle. The fact that it was a 4v3 or a 4-for-3 at the end of the day, Ariana was able to clean up. It's all about how well do teams kind of follow up after that initial engagement. As right now, Ariana
is getting realm warped on. Hoarder there with counter strike as well, and not a fair fight this time for the Ambessa. It's Team B bring more members to the party. They take down the top laner of Team A, looking for this tier 2 now as well, and Sushi not going to be able to defend by himself. So some more gold over to Team B. Still hovering around 5-6k gold latest now, though. The Baron could be the final nail in the coffin for Team A if this does go over. Banana Pudding trying to get some information. Where's the Pantheon? He is going to be trying to come in, but the Baron is just going to go over Hoarder on the flank angle as well. You called it out. Not able to find anybody with the counter strike. Just Crystal Arrow going to get the cleanse out from Sushi. Banana Pudding trying to peel, but to no avail as the Jax will finish off the Jhin. Another stun going to come out there as well onto the Pantheon. The flip back is there. and Munchie has no way out. Team B looking for the end right here. Very, very clean finish to this game number 3.
I can see it happening right now. This has been an amazing game overall. Team B showing their stuff here on some mechanically proud champions to follow through.
Absolutely. Claritz, knowing exactly what his job was there, tanks the Nexus turret aggro to finish off those last 2 members, and a sub 30-minute win here to close out the day.
And I think that game overall, at least to me, exemplified the things are messing up, we have to make adjustments. And when we look back at a lot of those team fights, you saw how messy they could be, but it's because a lot of it was reactionary. We saw a lot of those early game team fights, a lot of those dives coming out. Tahe, after about minute 8 or 9, was able to roll into these battles, and Munchie doing the exact same. These were moments of, we're going to start making plays, and we know the game's going to get wildly out of control as everyone tries to take the lead in there, which is why we were always seeing these reactions. Is the arrow going to land? Are we going to see a deadly flourish? Are we going to see the curtain call? What are we going to see next? Kind of spiral out of control. And I feel like Team B played the chaos game a little bit better. They did very, very well in rotating as quickly as possible and taking those risks. I mean, when I watched, I believe it was Adam on the rise, literally realm warp in front of the Jhin. That
Oh my
was
God,
a risk.
that was
a
crazy.
risk to take. Well played.
Absolutely, yeah. In hindsight, I do feel like these compositions really mirrored each other in a lot of ways, right? We had the early skirmishing junglers, the side lane threat, the long range engage, and clearly both teams, knew what the strengths of their respective compositions were. Both teams were looking for those plays, trying to catch people out, trying to create those odd-numbered situations where they could find advantages. But definitely agree. You just highlighted it very nicely. It felt like Team B did a little bit of a better job orchestrating the chaos and really finding those situations where they were going to be able to come out ahead. And I feel like, the other place that was really ended up being really consequential for Team B was the objective control. They ended up stacking up those dragons as quickly as possible. We even think back to the play very early on in this game where Tahe sort of sacrificed himself to secure that second grub, right? We weren't sure, like, oh, is that worth it? How do we feel about this? But it was a consistent theme throughout this game for Team B, where they were really focused on those objectives. They had really good setup for them for the most part, and they were able to use those objectives to snowball the game very effectively.
And for me, that's all the treats on the table, as this entire block was a lot of fun to watch. Shout out to Mobility, of course. We already know what Mobility did. 13, 2, and 8 needs no other words to amplify that they are still sitting at the top of the rung in terms of individual prowess. But crewman, I know you're here for only the last 2 games, but I gotta ask you, do you have a favorite for the MVP status, at least for this block thus far?
MVP in terms of this
Overall,
best of
just
3
a player
overall?
that highly impressed you throughout the 2 games that you got to watch, and maybe a little bit of game 1.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that Adam had a really nice performance in both games 2 and 3. Thinking about the Azir and game number 2, I thought he found a lot of great angles with the sweeps. And then here on the rise, I felt like his side laning was very, very nice, very strong, creating a lot of threat in sides. And that really felt like it was kind of the pivot point of the game, honestly, when he got that kill onto the Jhin, and then he based and teleported into the bot lane to find another kill and help out the team there. That was just like, okay, Team B, they're starting to run away with this one. So, for somebody that we hadn't really seen, I believe, at all yet in that first week,
sure.
I thought Adam had a great night out today.
I would agree with that one. Mobility shined, but Adam rose up to the challenge. The rest of the team did as well. I think everyone played a fantastic series, and I can't wait to see what the coaches have to say about it. I'm very, very interested to see exactly how they kind of pick apart this game, because it was 3, as you mentioned, very distinct compositions, and game 3 was probably the most even of them all. That's the fun of the Combine, though. You got to dive into what the players offer and what the coaches are looking for as well, and we'll see how much that progresses as we head into a further week. Tomorrow will be another block to go. Only one though, as it will start at 1 p.m. PT, which will feature, I believe, a fresh set of 10 of the 37 that we hear hand selected for the Cyto GG Path2Pro Combine for League of Legends. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in. Shout out to our producer. I believe it was Wookie holding it down for us across all 3 amazing games. Shout out, of course, to Trash who stepped in at the last moment. We appreciate them as well. And the crewmen, thank you so much for being here as well. My name is Orbital. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow.